Tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Who are these people?
Here we are.
Here we are. I see it, Bad Cookies. You don't ask where I am, just where Angel is. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Wait, I found the trailer or intro too. Last week I couldn't find it, but there it is. Welcome to Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Angel Rivera. Like, I am the host, Angel in the afternoon, and no other shows for now. My co-host is Miss Witchy Perfect. How are you doing on this Saturday night?
Well, I'm still sick, so whatever they gave me at the doctor's is still not working. But I'm not going back to the doctors. I refuse to go back to the doctors because they aren't going to cure me like they did when I was little. Because literally, when I was little, I could get amoxicillin like that. Now it's like, oh well, you don't. I'm like, okay, so you don't want to cure us.
Nope. They just want you to Miss Perfect, Bad Cookies, Liable News Network. If it's true, you found Doink the Clown the sexiest wrestler ever. Thoughts and comments.
Ew. Wait, which one? Which Doink? Was it Matt Bourne? Was it the guy who played Skinner? Steve Kern? There was another Doink, I think. Ew. No, the sexiest wrestler to ever live was Kurt Hennig, baby. Kurt Hennig.
Yeah,
we're just talking about, I put if you go on my X and you want to follow me, go for it. I'll have that in the description field. But if you want to follow me, I have a video of the Rap is Crap music video when it came out in '99. And if you watch it, even for like 5 seconds, you're like, holy crap, Kurt looks very natural on the stage. And it looks like he was always supposed to sing country music. But he loved and adored country. I mean, he loved all music, but I mean, he loved and adored country the most. And he just looks so natural up there. And, singing is not a fun thing, especially in front of people. It can be very nerve-wracking. It's kind of like public speaking. But as I've always told people, I would rather sing than I would rather talk. I would rather sing my whole performance than, talk to the audience or do like a public speaking kind of thing, because I screw up and I don't really like that anyway. Oof, I never knew there was more than one Doink. Oh my goodness gracious. You don't know your history. You need to read up. You need to study. You need more study.
The original Doink was
Matt Bourne.
Wrestler by the name of Matt Bourne.
Yeah.
And then later it was Skinner, aka
It was the guy
Steve
who
Kern.
played Skinner, Steve Kern. Yeah.
And then who else was it? Was it somebody else?
Yeah, it was somebody else for a while, but it was mostly Matt Bourne and Steve Kern.
Yeah. Matt Bourne made the role famous.
There was also Mini Doink, which was Dink.
Uh-huh.
I didn't find them funny. I just was like, what? I like the 3 matches they have with Doink, and this is Matt Bourne when he had Doink. It was 3 matches with him and Kurt Hennig to get Kurt into the King of the Ring. So they had the first 2 matches on Superstars, or one was on Superstars, the other one was on Wrestling Challenge, and then the final one was on Raw. Love those matches because Matt Bourne was he was second generation as much as Kurt was, so that's why they did actual wrestling.
Yeah. So
little person. I'm sorry. I keep reading that.
It's
before we go any further, I just want to send my condolences out to Roman Reigns. He lost his father this past week. I'm so sorry, Roman. We send you our prayers and thoughts and whatever. I send you positive energy since I am a witch. And I hope that wherever your father is, that he is out of pain and is where he needs to be. So condolences to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, 100%. Rest in peace, Sika. But yeah, I mean, he just went suddenly. I was like, I didn't know he was sick. He just
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
it came out all of a sudden that he was gone. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Angel Bro looks like he lost some weight, looking very healthy. It isn't what?
He looks like a wrestler. He looks like a wrestler. Come on, everybody, give it up for the person who actually looks like, a wrestler.
Thank you, thank you.
He could beat everybody on AEW. Come on.
Oh yeah,
Who isn't thinking that? Who isn't thinking that?
I appreciate the compliment there, but yeah, we do have to. Tomorrow night is the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which is infamous for just having
Oh,
cold
dear
matches
goddess.
for no reason. So yeah, so
Who do you have on your shirt there?
oh, this is a Space Jam 2 shirt.
Oh, okay. I thought at first it looked like a Kurt Hennig. I'm like, are we wearing almost the same shirt? No, I have a Kurt Hennig shirt on because this one I had made from Amazon. So
oh, okay.
yeah, it's when he this is during '99 actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's. So as of now, which right now Collision is on, so they can add to this fucking card. They can add to this card. There's 13 matches right now, as of now.
Right.
They can add more because the Collision is on right this second.
All right, let's do this car rack.
Let's just get it over with. Yeah,
let's just review it, and I'll give you my honest opinion, what I think. But it's all going to be shite.
It is, but let's just get through it. Los Ingoblenables de Japón. Yota Tashui Titan and Hirohimo Takashi. I'm going to butcher a bunch of these names, by the way.
That's okay. It's Japanese. What do you expect?
Versus the Lucha Brothers. Penta is Cero Miedo, Rey Phoenix, and Mystico. With Alex Abrahantes.
Arriba, andale. You know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know,
I don't know what to say. It's kind of like
This is a random 6-man tag for no reason from 3 wrestlers from Japan. I mean, it's a 6-man. They call it a trios match, but really it's a 6-man tag. I mean, this is not Mexico. So that's
but they think it is with the Lucha. I mean, Lucha has changed since we last saw it. I mean, when we were 11 years old, I mean, I was watching like Juventud Guerrera jump around the ring, and I'm like, holy crap, this dude is awesome. Like Chavo Guerrero and stuff like that.
Mysterio.
Eddie Guerrero,
Eddie and Ray.
With that frog splash. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. And then on the other side, you had the Japanese wrestlers who actually took wrestling. Sorry, I'm moving my mic. You had the Japanese wrestlers like Ultimo Dragon, and there was another guy. I can't think of his name now, but he did face Kurt when Kurt was in, because his dad was there. They were in Minnesota. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Dragon. Is it
not Takashita?
No.
Something. It was something Japanese. I'm sorry. Don't beat me up for that.
Was it the founder of New Japan? Am I forgetting his name?
No, but Sonny Ono was his manager. I don't know his name. But anyway, they were in Minnesota, and it was kind of like a warm-up match where Kurt's dad, Larry, kind of just got a few jabs in there, you know. It was kind of cool to see. Inoki, yes, Inoki.
That's what I was thinking of. So Inoki is the founder of New Japan.
Oh, get out! Was he in WCW?
Yep. He had a run in the U.S. I know he worked for Vince Sr., but I don't know if he ever worked for WCW. He might have.
This was someone in WCW around 98.
No, Inoki probably would have been back in Japan by then.
Yeah, so this is somebody else. This God, I can't think of his name. Takasha or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not versed in the Japanese wrestlers. I did like Ultimo Dragon because the Great Muta would do that stuff with that green mist. And it was kind of cool.
Ultimo Dragon had a brief run in WWE like in 2008.
Really?
Yeah,
I wasn't even watching.
And his first match was in WrestleMania 20, And the first thing he does is just slip and fall, hit his face on the stage.
Ooh.
Right in WrestleMania was his debut match, and
Mm-hmm.
he just hits a spill face first, like, oh
Ouch.
come on, that's not a good first impression, and he never really
It's
did
like
anything.
Jericho when he screwed up the lion salt. This was against Kurt too. Everything
Yeah.
seems to be against Kurt. Like he tried to do the lion salt, and Kurt put his knees up real fast, and it's a good thing he did because if Jericho had hit him in the stomach, would have knocked the wind out of him.
Yeah.
Poor Kurt. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean,
That goes
he
back
knew
to that Dusty thing. Don't do shit you can't do.
he knew that Jericho fucked up, so he's like, okay, let me protect myself
Yeah, I'll
here.
protect myself, and Jericho can make up the difference.
Yeah. So
But
that
his
match,
back landed on Kurt's knees, so
there's 3 pre-show matches apparently. So
okay.
that's one of them.
Okay.
Los Ingobernables de Japón, or the Ungovernables from Japan.
Well, are you picking Japan or Mexico?
The
Which flag are
Japanese
you waving here?
the Japanese have to get some victories. So if they're gonna do a
Okay.
they're
So
gonna do
we're going with
a
Japanese
super
guys.
card. Yeah. The second match is Chris Statlander versus Momo Watanabe, and versus
Momo
Willow
who?
Nightingale and Tom Nakano. That's a tag match. So
Bad cookies, I will
Statlander,
beat you up.
Statlander and Nightingale feuding right now. So
I say Statlander wins
for no
because I don't
reason
know
they
who this
stuck.
Moo is.
They stuck. No, that's their tag team partner.
Oh, sorry. Go
They
ahead.
stuck them together. Two random Japanese girls with the 2 that are feuding for no reason. So yeah, I mean,
Well, I still pick Statlander.
yeah, the heel has to get a win over the babyface for now. So yeah, I agree. All right, the third pre-show match is Mariah May with Tony Storm, Luther, and Mina Shirakawa versus Saraya, aka Paige, with Haley Cameron.
Raya, maybe. I don't know who the baby faces and the heels are.
I don't know. It's AEW. You know, like with Tony Storm, one week she's a heel, next week she's a baby face.
She's
the
a
next
baby
week
face. Yeah, what the hell is that?
She
You
goes
can't
back
just keep
to a
switching
heel.
them.
I think he's switching them for no reason. Yes, I don't
Right.
know who's the baby face or the heel. So yeah, I mean Saraya.
Isn't Saraya the one with the hair that's up here and then the face is all like painted and stuff? And I'm like, what the hell is this?
No, she used to be Paige in WWE. She was
Okay.
one of the top girls in WWE until she hurt her neck and had to retire. And yet they paid her. They paid this girl for 3 years to sit at home and literally do nothing. And Vince was nice enough to pay her. And Vince never does this. You know, he's like, okay, you're not no use to me, pal. But he paid her for 3 years, even past the pandemic. And then she's so ungrateful, like, oh, Vince never listened to me. It's like, you're fucking hurt. You broke your neck,
You got
sweetie.
your freaking paycheck even though you weren't working. He would have
For 3
never
years
done that for
nearly.
Kurt or any of the older wrestlers like Brett. He never did that for Brett.
This is when Vince was still running WWE, and it's like he was nice enough to pay her, even though she was home with a retired because of a broken neck or a bad neck. Now she's back in AEW. It's like, oh no, how long before she's paralyzed? I mean, God forbid, you know. But
well,
these
her
wrestlers,
choice.
These wrestlers don't, you know, they don't protect each other. They just hurt each other for no reason. All right. So the first pay-per-view match is Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry versus Dante Martin versus Leo Rush versus Phantasmo. The ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. This is the belt where Edge broke his leg in the last pay-per-view and had to vacate it. So they're doing a ladder match.
No flipping clue. Well, I know they're not going to do anything with Mark Briscoe. They haven't done anything since Jay lost his life in a car crash.
No.
And they're just making a mockery of him and Jay.
How many times Jim Cornette said, you can make Mark Briscoe into the top babyface of this company if you really wanted to.
And they literally went, we're not doing that.
No. But he's not going to win. I guarantee you Jungle Jackoff's going to win. Jack Perry.
Jack Perry. Okay, so
he's
we're going to do something
match
with Jack Perry then. Oh,
yeah,
great.
because the Bucks if you remember back in Dynamite a few weeks ago, the Bucks tried to put the belt on him without even having a match. So
I hate the Bucks.
until ripoff Adam Pearce came out, Christopher Daniels, and basically said, "No, I'm one of the EVPs now, and you can't do that. I represent Tony Khan." I was like, that makes no sense. Why can't Tony come out and and make the matches?
Because Tony is a pissat and he's a pussy. And I mean, I can give you a long list of things, but he's not a good promoter.
No.
He completely sucks.
No, so yeah, obviously, I think Jack Perry's gonna get this belt because they're still trying to push this rip-off
Well, isn't that
NWO
his
angle.
boy? That's like their boy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, he's part of the new elite with Okada and the Bucks.
Ugh.
Okada, we want to call him
Oh, Cody.
Okody.
Yeah, oh, Cody.
All right, so I think Jack Perry's gonna get this fucking belt because they still want to use him and push him, even though he's 160 pounds. I'm bigger than him
Yeah,
by
I
like
mean, you
40
look more like a
pounds.
wrestler than Jack Perry, but I agree with you because,
Yeah.
they just want their boy in there and they want that international title with him.
These other guys like Dante Martin and Leo Rush, they're all there just to do their spots. They're not going to get
Yep.
this belt.
Yep.
Like it's just a ladder match. That's what
It's
it
like
is
having
today.
jobbers with, your one star.
Yeah, that's because they need the spot monkeys. So here comes Dante Martin, Leo Rush, El Fantasmo, Mark Briscoe, and Takeshita. They're just there to get beat because take a shit. You could do something with him. I mean, he looks like a wrestler, but of course he's
But
just
have
doing
they done
jobs.
anything with him? That's the
No,
question. No,
no,
they haven't.
he's stuck in the Don Callis family, and they done nothing
Right.
with him.
Right.
All right. So the next match is the Learning Tree: Chris Jericho and Big Bill and Jeff Cobb with Brian Keith versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata or Shapupi, as you would call.
Please let Samoa Joe win a match. Please. I'm voting for Samoa Joe. I hate Chris Jericho.
He was a former world champion just a couple months ago. He dropped the belt to Swerve, and look what they're sticking him in random 6-man tags for no reason.
I know, but I still am holding out hope because at least Samoa Joe had prestige. He had name recognition. He was in OVW, wasn't he? At one point?
He might have been in the early days. I know he became famous in TNA and Ring of Honor.
TNA. So he was in TNA, and
he might have been in OVW at some point.
Yeah, and he got recognized because of that. I really want to think that because Jericho pulls politics, it'll probably be Jericho and his little puppy, whatever, his little puppy.
He has the belt,
like puppet on a string.
He has that belt that Taz made for himself back in ECW, the FTW title. I mean,
yeah, he took it from Hook.
Yeah, which is Taz's belt, literally because Paul Heyman allowed him to make it because his ego, because Raven was the ECW champion and he wanted to be champion. So it's like, okay, fine, make your own fucking belt. You're that world champion, whatever. So
I would rather vomit on Chris Jericho. Are you kidding me?
I'm surprised Taz let him, carry his belt, but I digress. So I'm hoping Samoa Joe wins something, and I'm hoping his contract expires soon, so he goes back to WWE because him and Triple H were close. So so he might be packing his bags, heading over to WWE again for having that one last run before he retires. But I hope Hook ends up there too because he needs to get out of AEW.
Because that's Taz's son.
Yeah,
and he deserves to have something done with him other than it's just a little Hook. Go away, boy. But him on the head, you're a little good boy.
And Jericho, of course, is going to win this match because he's
put some meat on them bones, yo. Come on,
he's not going to lose. He's not going to lose. I mean, Jericho has like 7 years left on that contract, and he's like 53. Tony signed apparently a 10-year contract, and he's in his 50s.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too on X. I was so disgusted. I was like, ugh, let me go to the bathroom and vomit, please. Ugh.
Oh, no.
Bad cookies, I will beat you up. I will smack thee down on you. Don't make me come through this computer because I will. You don't know what I could do. I am a witch. You don't know what I could do. Okay, no.
The next matchup on this card is Timeless Toni Storm defending the women's world title against Mina Shirakawa. This is the angle where they're doing like a lesbian thing between Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa and the other girl, Maria May. So they're all doing some sort of lesbian angle where apparently they're all in love with each other for no reason.
I think Brian Last was like, they were talking about tits and ass, and I was just like, okay, skip. I don't want to hear about this shit. I'm a woman. I am straight. I like dick, okay? I don't like pussy. I like dick.
It's bad. It's like 1999 Raw or WCW when Vince Russo was there. I'm sure I remember him doing lesbian angles there too in WCW.
Yeah, I remember that where They had Stephanie had to kiss a woman, and she didn't. She it was Rikishi and drag,
Oh
but he was
yeah,
a
that was
guy. He had a
after.
dick.
Yeah, that was after. That was in WWF. But yeah, I mean that. But yeah, Vince would do similar things too. But too many Vinces. McMahon would do that too. So
Yeah, well,
and
Russo is
Russo.
the worst at it.
This is the Russo-esque storyline. It makes you question whether Vince Russo secretly works with AEW
Sometimes I
because
wonder. Yeah,
this is ridiculous. Yeah, Tony Storm's going to retain. They're not going to put the belt on
I
mere
was gonna say I
Japanese
would
wrestler.
say Tony Storm here because I don't know the other lady. I know Storm from just what Cornette has said about her. But
Yeah,
I don't see her going anywhere like
she was in
NXT.
WWE. She was in WWE, and
She was.
the story why she quit because she was working with Charlotte Flair, who was the women's champion then,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlotte Flair pied her like literally with us the pie, and that's a dumb Vince storyline. But she quit. Like she got on her plane, went back home to Australia. Like I'm tired of the sports entertainment shit. And what did she do? A sports entertainment gimmick, a gimmick that Vince would have loved. A
Well, now she's
1950s.
technically a straight woman doing a lesbo
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
What was the difference? I mean, no
There
offense,
is no
but
difference.
grow some lady because I hate to tell you this, but Kurt Hennig ended up in a cake. All because Master P and that whole shit they were doing in WCW. So
Yeah,
grow
it's
some
like
lady.
she was a mark for herself. You know, she thought that she should have been taken as seriously with Charlotte Flair, and she just started. She just started on the main roster. She came from NXT. Wasn't like she was a veteran. She was there for years. No.
Right. It's called
Yeah,
paying your dues.
yeah, and they did a story where Charlotte pied her in the face, and she thought that was demeaning to her, and she quit. And now she's a 1950s Marilyn Monroe cosplayer. That's what she is, and that's
Playing
the
a
sports.
lesbian part, and
Yeah,
she's
and
probably
that's
straight.
and I think Vince would have loved this gimmick. That's why I'm saying it's a sports entertainment gimmick, and she allegedly hates sports entertainment.
Well, right.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with like, I don't get it. Men, why don't you understand? Lesbians do not like men. That's if they like men, they would be
Mm-hmm.
straight.
Yeah.
Why do you love the whole lesbian thing? Again, they don't want men. They don't like men. They think men are ugly and icky. So I don't understand like, oh, a guy's going to watch two lesbians. Okay, great, but they don't want you in it because they're lesbians, you idiot. I don't understand that whole point of view. It's like, why wouldn't you want a straight woman who likes dick instead of lesbians who don't?
Mm-hmm.
They like pussy. That's what they're there for. That's why they're called lesbians. They don't like
Yeah.
dick.
So the lesbian angle is hopefully done after tomorrow night, and Mina Shirakawa go back to Japan because I'm sick. I have not actually watched AEW in the last month. That's how horrible that show's been, and I'm done with it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's been usually I would watch it, just to watch it, but and they had their lowest rating ever like 2 weeks
That's what
ago.
I was gonna say. They had their lowest ratings, and I don't want to watch it. I just listen to what Cornette says about it.
Yeah,
And they were talking about that whole tits and ass thing. And I was just like, I'm just going to skip this
it's
because it's
just
not
bad.
even worth listening to because I'm a straight woman. I don't want to hear that shit. I want
It's
to hear
just
about dick.
it's just bad. It's not good. It's just for what it. If I was a teenager, I would like this angle. I'm almost 40. It's like, come on. I mean, it's too much. It's ridiculous. This is not 1999 anymore. All right. So the next match on the card is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy.
Oh,
Tony Khan's
God.
favorite wrestler. Zack Sabre Jr. is from Japan. He does all the spots. But he doesn't sell anything. So it's a
I
Will
say
Ospreay
Orange
type thing.
Cassidy because, I mean, they're trying to push him.
Oh, Tony's been pushing him for years.
Yeah,
He
they've
was
been
on the
pushing him for
first show.
years.
He's on the first show, first Dynamite 5 years ago, and he's still a big part of that show to this day. Even though his act is quickly become stale, the whole pocket thing, and he kicks you with his hands in his pockets. It's been stale years ago, but now it's like it's even worse now. It's just horrible. They don't.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I mean, it literally is like you hear like a guy like, oh, I love watching two lesbians go at it. Why? You could never join them. They don't like you.
Yeah.
They think men are disgusting. Otherwise, they would be bi instead of lesbians.
Yeah, makes no sense. All right, so the next match on the card is MJF versus Hechicero.
I pick
Hechicero.
MGF because
I don't know
they're
who that
trying to
even
push
is.
him.
Well,
Blessed
yeah, he's
be, blessed be,
Hechicero. Hecha. Wait a minute.
Hechicero.
Yeah, he's a
Like,
mass. He,
because Cornette was saying about chia. Remember that old
yeah.
commercial and
Mm-hmm.
stuff?
Yeah.
Chichero.
He's a Mexican mass wrestler from CMLL.
I
So all
say,
the
go ahead.
MJF's obviously gonna win, but
Yeah,
yeah,
MGF. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's no
Because
one
he's
else gonna win that
their little
match.
boy Pockets too. Even though
Yeah,
Pockets is
he's
Pockets, but it's still their little puppet boy because he got that AEW bet on AEW. Always bet on AEW. Yeah, always bet on AEW to have lower ratings than WCW did in the years that WCW was failing.
Yep. So the next match on this card is a singles match for the IWGP Heavyweight Title. John Moxley, the champion, versus Tetsuya Naito. I guess that's the way you pronounce that name.
I go with
T-
John Moxley, even though he's a straight male kissing men on the lips.
yeah, this is bad.
I
So yeah,
mean,
Moxley's gonna retain that belt.
he's not facing anybody. It would be different if he was facing
T-
Swerve, you know.
Yeah, it's Teyuya Naito, some Japanese guy, and yeah, that belt. Tony Khan's killed New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's why they have to
Ugh,
put the belt on his wrestlers because he
right.
signed away all their top stars, including Okada and Takeshita
Take a
and
shit.
yeah,
I'm
and all
sorry, I
those
can't
other
get over
guys.
that. Every time I can't get over that. I love it.
So Tony's killed New Japan, so they need to put the belt on his stars then. All right, so the next match is a trios match, aka 6-man tag. The Elite, Matt, Nick Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada versus Scissor Ace, Anthony Bowens, Matt Caster, Hiroshi Tanahashi with Daddy Ass Billy Gunn.
Oh God, come on, really?
Yep, Daddy Ass Billy Gunn. That's what he's calling himself. So Daddy Ass is their manager, I guess. He's 60 years old, but if you've seen Billy Gunn recently, he's bigger than most of the AEW roster, even though he's 60 years old.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick on this one. You pick one, and I'll agree with you. How about that?
The Elite, they have to win this match. I
Okay,
mean,
so the Elite will win. There you go.
because they're still pushing that rip-off NWO angle, so they're taking over AEW, so they can't do
NWO
a
was
job right now.
WCW. Let it go. That's what you want to
Yeah,
tell them, but you can't tell them that because they'll be like, "I'm gonna take your X account off."
yeah, you can't. They're doing the rip-off NWO thing.
Yeah, get
With
up and go see the White House counselor. Wendy Cabral is not here, so I'm her stand-in. So if you want to see me after class.
yeah, it's Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada. So that's the new Elite. And obviously the Elite's going to win. They're pushing
They're
them with
leaving.
that
What's his name? Ostrich.
Jack.
They're leaving him off.
Oh no, he's in the main event with the world title match.
Swerve. So he's against
Yes,
Swerve. Okay.
yes. All right. The
Go
next
ahead.
match on this card is Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vacker. So it's a winner take all
It's
match.
Monet.
The winner takes off match for both the AEW TBS Championship and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's title. So both titles are on the line.
I say Monet because
Yeah,
they're trying to push her right now.
They're gonna put these belts on her because New
Yeah.
Japan's been killed off by Tony Khan, so they have to.
They're like a joke of themselves. It's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, like Tony Khan leached all their top talent from them, and now basically New Japan stuck with Tony Khan in order to use get even an opportunity to use their old top stars. So
Right. Yeah, I mean
yes.
it's kind of disgusting at this point, but I say anyone who bets on any Japanese wrestlers, I mean they're just like it's like having jobbers in your thing. They're just there for the job.
Yeah,
They're not really stars.
Because and Tony Khan ironically hated Vince McMahon because he raped all the territories and he destroyed. I would never do that. What does he do? He rapes New Japan all their talent. He's trying to rape CMLL all their talent. He's doing the exact same thing Vince did, except much worse because he has worse talent. Unlike Vince, where you had Hogan and he had Piper and he had Savage and he had all these actual stars. None of these guys are actual stars. So
Right.
All right, so the next match on the card is Bryan Danielson versus Shinho Taka something, I don't know. So it's Taka. I don't know, Taka G, I guess.
Okay. Well, obviously. Oh, I'm sorry. Who'd you say?
Bryan Danielson versus
Oh yeah,
Shinho
Bryan Danielson. I mean,
Takagi.
this is like it's like watching you know, Barry Horowitz versus, you know, Kurt Hennig, if there was such
And
a thing. I mean, if Kurt was like
yeah,
a baby face back in the day. I mean, this is like watching that. It's like Tim Horner and Kurt Hennig. Nobody knows who the hell Tim Horner is. But
he
they all
was.
know who Kurt Hennig is, right? They know who Mr.
Yeah,
Perfect is. So
yeah.
it's
So,
like literally
hmm
having on a pay-per-view, it's like literally Tom Horner
uh,
on versus Mr. Perfect on a pay-per-view.
so this match is a men's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match.
Oh
So
God. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I mean it's not. I mean, I think we talked about this
Poor Owen Hart.
the last time AEW did a pay per view where Tony Khan and Martha Hart came out to the ring and had like this awkward promo where they announced, oh yeah, by the way, the winner of the Owen Hart tournament gets a world title shot, which is ripping off what WWE did with the King of the Ring tournament. They just ripped it off like blatantly. So yeah, that's just terrible. Owen Hart should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, but as long as Martha Hart's around, that's never going to happen because she's still bitter at WWE. I get you're bitter at Vince. Like I said a few weeks ago, if you want to be better at Vince, I get it. He's the major reason why Owen Hart died. But at the
Yes.
same time, it's like he's gone. Like he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Now it's
he's
Triple
not a
H.
part of WWE.
But I mean and we'll probably get to it later. But the whole thing with I didn't see it, so I can't really comment on it. But the whole Bo coming out as Bray Wyatt was in his old getup as Uncle Howdy.
Mm-hmm. He cut a promo on Raw, which we'll get to, and it was really good. I mean, I'm not sure you saw the 5-minute,
I did not see any of that. I just heard Cornette was like, oh God, this stupid shit again.
He doesn't like
when
it.
Bray Wyatt did it. Yeah, and now that Bo's doing it, it's even worse. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't really comment.
I thought the promo was really good. Honestly, it's like
okay.
It was just a promo. It was really good. I will get to it, but Uncle Howdy asked him, "How did it feel when your brother died?" It's like that's his alter ego. So it's like he's talking to his alter ego. So it's like
right, and I think I think Bray Wyatt was trying to do that before he passed. Trying to do like an angle like that where
they
he
were
was
doing the
like,
story where Uncle Howdy was tormenting Bray Wyatt, which would turn out to be his brother, and that was the whole angle that they were planning. Unfortunately, Bray Wyatt got sick, and then when he was supposed to come back to do the story, then he passed away. So that's why,
which was very sudden, very sudden.
Yeah, it was sudden, and Bo Dallas was like, "Damn, we were this close. I always wanted to work with my brother. We were this close, and it didn't happen." That was that promo, and I thought it was really what he did. It was, it was emotional. It was everything what wrestling is supposed to be. It set up the story.
Did you see the one with Jeff Jarrett where he talked about Owen Hart and he talked about? I didn't see it, but I saw it on X. Like I saw people like reacting to it.
Yes, it was.
What do you think about it?
It was another well done promo because it came, from the heart because Jarrett and Owen Hart were best friends. So
that's true. Yeah,
it came from the heart. So that's why. And Jarrett's not really a good promo. I mean, it never was, and he thought he was a main eventer like his dad, but he really wasn't. They failed and he was the champion, and WCW failed when he was the champion. So he's not a main eventer like his dad was, and obviously he could never accept it. And now he's like. But I digress. The promo itself was really good and emotional. Like, and it's like, oh, Jarrett cut a good promo. Great. Let's see if he wins the tournament because he wants to win the tournament in order to honor Owen. It was a nice sentiment. Because of that promo, I suspect he will win the tournament, but he's gonna get a world title shot. I mean, I don't know how that's supposed to work. He's like nearly 60 himself.
Yeah. Jarrett's getting up there. As a reaction to it, I mean, I would probably I didn't want to cry, so I did not watch it because I just with the fact that I'm still sick, I'm very emotional anyway, and I don't know what to do about it because I went to a doctor and they didn't cure me. So I'm back at the point where I'm just like, fine, I'll just I guess I'll be sick. what am I gonna do? You know.
Yeah, that's that was another promo, good promo, and the main event for the AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland, the champion, with Prince Nana versus Will Ospreay. I don't know why they booked this match now, because I always assumed that Ospreay get the belt at Wembley.
Well, but who are you picking?
Well, they have to put this belt on Ospreay. How's he going to lose? I mean, he's supposed to be their next top, baby face. Who's going to their next white hope? Because they always put their belts on white, skinny white dudes that do all the moves for. But they can't cut a promo. I can't understand Will Ospreay.
Okay.
All I understand is like, bruv, I'm gonna get you, bruv. It's like I can't. Other than that, it's like what he has that thick British accent, like that.
Interesting.
I'm not sure you ever heard him talk, but
no,
he has a thick British accent.
The only thing I've heard about Ostrich is from Cornette. I'm gonna go with. I would really like to see Swerve keep it because I think they have more story to tell with him. But I agree with you. I think they're gonna put it on Ostrich. Go ahead.
He has no stories. That's the thing. I mean, he's just beating random guys. He's beating.
I mean, he was against jobbers at one point. I mean, who does that? That's like Hogan going against Barry Horowitz. They would never ever do that in the WWF.
Swerve had a match with Kyle Fletcher, a 20-minute match, and the guy never beats anybody. But he struggled to beat Kyle Fletcher. So that's just another major issue with AEW. First of all, you should never book the match. And second of all, if you book the match, he has to get beat in less than 5 minutes.
Right.
Ideally, less than 3 minutes. Don't give him very little. Give him maybe a move here, like, oh wow, he did a move from the top rope, but immediately beat him. Because you can't just let him almost beat your world champion, even though he doesn't beat anybody. Makes no sense. And Swerve it doesn't know how to protect himself. Like, he should tell Tony, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not going to get buried like that.
Well, and the thing is, like I said, they the opponents for Hogan and Savage back in 88 and 89, before they broke up, were literally like the Big Boss Man, Akeem, all these people who were not jobbers. They were actual superstars who literally made a name for themselves.
In 88, Hogan was looking for new opponents because he didn't have any. They ran out. So
and then
they were
also
looking.
Eventually, Earthquake would come into it, and Earthquake was not a jobber.
No, eventually he looked at Jim Crockett and he's like, "Hey, Big Boss Man, you want to come up and work with me?" And at the time, Big Boss Man was Big Bubba Rogers. He managed. He was Jim Cornette's bodyguard.
Right.
And he told Cornette, "Hey, look, opportunity to work with Hogan is like, get your ass out here, go up there immediately."
Yeah,
it's
go
Hogan,
out there. Yeah, it's Hogan. Yeah.
It's not. I don't like Hogan, and I think Hogan is a shit wrestler, but get your ass up there right now. It's Hulk Hogan.
I mean, at least you could put asses in seats. This is not going to put asses in seats, and no wonder AEW is floundering. So, I mean, they're literally trying to keep their head above water.
They are, and their TV contract's coming up at the end of the year, and they still have no new television contract. So I don't. So if TNT or Turner, not Turner, what are they are now? Warner Brothers Discovery. I keep calling Turner because I'm that age where it was Turner Broadcasting, was TNT, TBS, and CNN.
Right.
But Ted Turner is like, you're crazy. You're creating 24-hour news channel. Nobody wants to see news 24 hours, and it worked. But I digress. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I mean, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay, they've done nothing with Swerve as champion. Quite frankly, if it were me, he would be one of the biggest stars in wrestling. I would do everything I can to put this guy over. Problem is, most of AEW's audience are that IWC move, spot monkey marks where, oh, you have to have a great 40-minute match where you do all these moves and nobody sells anything. And that's a 5-star match. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see stories.
Right.
So and Tony Khan thought, oh yeah, I can make this into a national promotion. Because problem is, in order to get a national promotion, you have to have a casual audience. Somebody, who you can't just have these hardcores. Because the hardcores are what, 500,000, 600,000? That's the only people who are watching this show. I mean, they used to have some of the casuals, actually when they first started with Cody and with Jericho that first came in, and Jericho was younger and he still could go at that point somewhat, so he can't go anymore, but they doubled down on Jericho. But I digress. I mean, when Cody left, that company did.
Yeah,
That's
I
the beginning of
mean,
the end.
they are still and CM Punk too. And I don't like CM Punk whatsoever, but I will say that since then they've kind of done, a
First, it was
nosedive.
Cody. Cody's like, it's the beginning of the end. If Cody, who's one of the founders of AEW, can leave and go with Vince after
Hmm.
Vince screwed him over his first run,
Right.
I mean, Tony's fucked. Even at that time, he had Punk. Punk was the AEW champion. I think he had 2 runs. He got hurt, and he talked about it on what's his face that rated his podcast, the MMA guy,
Uh, the one who
Ariel
uses.
Helwani.
Oh,
Ariel
Aaron
Helwani.
Hawani.
He went on his podcast and gave his version of what happened with All In when they left him, like the
Yeah.
Bucks, because it turns out the talent relations guy who handled CM Punk's vehicle, was best friends with the Bucks, and the Bucks hated him, so they just left him at Heathrow in London. Luckily,
Wow.
he found his way to the stadium because he had to ask around, but and he ended up in a train in London, which is not exactly the safest city, because
No.
CM Punk even said, "Look, that's reckless to do one of your top guys." So he found his way to Wembley, and he struggled getting the arena because even though people who he is, still they wouldn't let him in initially.
Wow.
So
You
that's a
talk
whole.
about I mean, you might as well have just fired him then.
Yeah, I mean, even CM Punk said after the brawl out, that first fight he had with the Elite, just let me go.
Yeah,
These
just let me
the,
go.
these guys don't want me here. The Elite, just let me go. Your EVPs don't want me here.
What did he say in the famous thing? I work with fucking children.
I
I'm
work
working with
with
fucking children.
who couldn't manage a target.
Right. That's what he said during that
Yeah,
mashup at the end there.
the press conference
Press
before the
conference,
initial
yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
because Tony Khan insisted on these press scrums, where he can put himself over and Stacy, and stroke his ego a little bit. Unfortunately, he didn't expect Punk to just explode like that and just bury the Elites, and he had Tony's face was like stop him. Look, enough's enough. If go back to your locker room. I mean, you don't need this press conference anymore.
Oh,
Be a
absolutely.
boss. Be a boss. But no, he
Yeah,
just sat there
grow some cojones,
if you you're just go to your locker room. You don't need to do this press conference. But no, he just let him sit there. He sat there for an hour with this face like every time Punk says something, he punch him in the gut.
Yeah,
And he did.
I would have punched him too.
He figuratively punched him in the gut. So, yeah, I mean, once Punk was gone, who's the top guy? There was nobody. MJF, even MJF buried himself.
Yeah.
Because if Will Ospreay gonna get this belt, by the way, he has to. I mean, if he's gonna lose, then what was the point of him getting the international title? And
Well,
what was the point?
There's your top guy. So
Yeah,
they
he
want
has to be.
Ospreay, obviously, because obviously Swerve was kind of like, "Help! I'm treading water here. I don't know what to do." But then they weren't giving him crap to do anyway. They were just kind of like, "Okay, here's a cattle prod."
He became anyway. There's nobody in AEW that would teach him.
Right.
Or if even if there is Jake the Snake Roberts. He's hanging around backstage. I don't know what he does, but
Jake,
they
it's time to give it up, bud. It's time to give it up.
He signed another contract. Tony Khan extended him like he's
Are
some
you
kind
freaking
of
serious?
yeah, by
Oh
3
my
years.
God.
And Jake is old. He's an old school worker. He just took the money. He's like, yeah, WWE doesn't want me, so like I'm just gonna stay here and leech off Tony Khan for a few more.
I was
years.
gonna say because most of your life, Jake, you were an addict.
Yeah, I'm glad he's clean. DDP got him clean.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely glad he's clean. It's just, when it comes to that, if you think about all the bridges he burnt and all the stuff that happened basically when he was high or drunker than a skunk, I mean,
So he's finally clean. He's an old school worker, so he's like he probably talked Tony, give him more money, even though. And Tony said it's such a mark that is like, oh
Okay.
yeah, Jake. Okay, I was a big fan of yours when you were a kid, and as a kid, so here's a bunch of
Yeah, I
money.
like Jake the Snake.
And same thing with Ric Flair. He's still paying Ric
Ah,
Flair. Even though
that dude needs to give it up.
the only reason why he brought in Ric Flair to do the thing with Sting, because Sting was retiring.
Well,
But why'd
that
you get?
and I think Flair has a lot of was going broke because he had a lot of alimony payments because
He
he
still does.
screwed a lot of chicks and had a lot of kids, and then just went, okay, I'm gonna cheat on all of you. Bye bye. Why get
And Tony
married,
Khan
stupid?
and Tony Khan is a Ric Flair fan, so he's
Ugh.
paying him because he was one of his favorite wrestlers, just like with Jake the Snake. So yeah, Flair. I'm not sure if Flair even goes to the AEW shows anymore. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with him.
Well, right
They
now,
still-
I mean, was there any repercussions after the whole pizza thing incident?
As far as I know, no, he's still getting a check from Tony. So even though they should have used that as an excuse to fire Flair, but
Yeah, okay, sorry, Flair. Bye. You're not
I'm sure-
making AEW. I mean, when I laughed when I saw on X, it was like, oh well, it's not Vince McMahon's problem anymore. Now it's Tony Khan's.
yeah, Ric Flair is now Tony Khan's problem. And Triple
Mhm.
H was Ric Flair's favorite wrestler. Triple H loved Ric Flair back in there 20 years ago when they were together. But even him, he wouldn't touch Flair, I don't think, today. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Someone needs
Jake
to
just,
sit Ric Flair down and say, look, Rick, you are not Ric Flair. You are not the Nature Boy. You are Rick, whatever the frick your name is,
Mhm.
Richard, whatever.
Yeah.
You are that person. There is no line. There is a line between Ric Flair and you need to not cross it anymore. You are not the Nature Boy. You are who you are.
He doesn't know how to be Richard. I mean, that's not a Richard
Exactly.
Flair. He knows how to be Ric Flair. Like, same thing with Hogan. He doesn't know how to be Terry Bollea anymore. He's Hulk Hogan. That's what he's always what he's been called and what he's. So he doesn't know who Terry Bollea is anymore. So, I mean, I get it. These guys were all-time greats, and that's the reason why they made a lot of money, because they believed in their character and they actually were their character, but they don't know how to retire. They don't know how to say, okay, I'm done now. I'm going to be Terry, or I'm going to be Rick or Richard.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to being a civilian, so to speak, not a wrestler.
Yeah, he was always Hogan. So, Jake the Snake is back there. Getting back to my point, he could help Swerve, but if Swerve wouldn't listen to him, probably because these guys, they're so arrogant, they think they know everything, and they don't. I'm sure Jake the Snake could teach Swerve how to protect himself, and what I mean by that,
Brett said he would offer to, train these guys, and AEW basically told him to go F off.
Yeah,
You could have Bret Hart. You could have had Bret Hart.
Bret Hart made 1 or 2 appearances in AEW.
And
Bret Hart didn't even know what AEW was. He happened to be in the same town that AEW is doing Dynamite. And I think Tony Khan called his agent, like, hey, can Bret make an appearance in AEW tonight? And Bret was like, they're paying? He was like, oh yeah, sure. He had no clue what AEW was, and he first made an appearance. So he just made an appearance and just got paid a bunch of money, and just went off. He made another appearance later on. I don't remember what he did, and then he hasn't appeared since. And like you said, he offered to help because it's like none of these guys need work, and
big time. I mean, a lot of these guys don't even know the fundamentals or the basics. But that's the thing. I mean, Tony Khan said to Bret Hart, "Oh, go F off." Okay, then your wrestling's going to be shitty, and we have the reviews to prove it, that it's a shitty product with shitty wrestlers or entertainers.
What I mean with Swerve protecting himself is telling the promoter that, no, I'm not going to do this. It'll bury me.
Right.
He doesn't know how to do that. He just does whatever Tony tells him to do because, hey, Tony's paying him. He doesn't realize that it's burying him as champion, because nobody takes him seriously. The perception of Swerve, he's a transitional champion, and he's going to drop it to Ospreay. That was the please tell me that music goes away. I'm going to mute my mic. Okay, it's gone. But I'm going to have to mute my mic. But no, it's fine now. But yeah, I mean, it's what am I saying?
Something about Swerve.
Oh yeah.
And Tony
Protecting
Khan not
himself.
taking his something that would make his product better. Like
Yeah,
he's literally squandering it. So I think they do this just so they can laugh at all these wrestlers.
he's Swerve. It's his responsibility as champion to protect himself. Look at
Right.
Hogan. Hogan never did a job.
Right.
Never. Even if Vince even thought of it, Hogan's like, doesn't work for me, brother. I can't get beat. It is like, okay. He knew how to protect himself. Piper never did a job working for Vince. Like, he would
Right.
squirm out of it, and like in 1984, 85, when they did the first match with Hogan and Piper. What was it called? They called it the War, the War to Settle the Score or something like that.
Yeah.
And Piper didn't initially. Piper was supposed to get beat clean by Hogan in the middle of the ring with a leg drop, and Piper like squirmed his way out of it and basically convinced Vince to do a disqualification.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, because he didn't want to do a job to Hulk, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to do a job to Hulk. I mean, Hulk was a prick, so he didn't want to do a job to Hulk. So it's like he squirmed his way out of it, convinced Vince to change the disqualification, where Hogan
I
won by
heard-
disqualification.
Yeah, I heard an interview they had with Scott Hall where Piper didn't want to do a job for, I think it was Kevin Nash. Savage, Randy Savage. He didn't want to do a job for Randy Savage. And Scott was like, dude, stop being a prick. I mean, this is Randy Savage we're talking about. We're not talking about Hogan. We're not talking about Nash. We're not talking about me. We're talking about fucking Randy Savage. And you won't do a job for that guy.
Because Piper, in his mind, it's still 1986, and he's protecting himself from doing a job.
Right.
It
Well,
was
I get that, but
1997
I mean,
at that point.
Yeah,
and
it was
older.
96, 97, yeah.
And he was older and past his prime. So it's dude, it was time. It's time to give it up. You're not a superstar anymore. But do you know the story of Kevin Nash slapping Piper? I assume you've heard this.
I heard of it, but I don't remember the details.
It was a tag team match, if I remember correctly. It was Hall and Nash versus Piper and Flair. And Kevin Nash basically told Piper and Flair, look, we can't start. They were doing an angle. So that was their first match. Like, we can't start this hot because you started hot. We have nowhere to go. The first thing Piper and Flair do is they started hot, and they were, beating Hall and Nash up. And Kevin Nash got pissed, and eventually they started hitting each other for real. And they got really pissed off at each other. And eventually Kevin Nash told the referee, throw it out. Disqualify, end this match because we get, it's real, it's getting real here. Referee threw it out. They all went to the back, and Nash was like, "What the fuck was that? What are you doing?" And Piper got up and tried. He assumed he was going to fight him, so he just slapped him, and Piper sat back down. And Nash was like, "That's it," because Piper is always known as this tough guy. He could beat anybody up. That was the reputation he upheld. But he did nothing after Nash bitch slapped him, basically.
Are you serious? No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
I heard that he slapped him, but I didn't remember what for.
Yeah, and according to Piper was asked about it. It's like, no, he never slapped me. Of course, why would he admit? Even if it's true, he wouldn't admit to it. So it's like, yeah, Piper never slapped me. I mean, Nash never slapped me. Just we got into a scuffle, and that was it. And that was his version.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you lost it, I mean, the fact that but Nash was slapping everybody. He was like, he got so mad at Eric Bischoff one time and literally kicked in his door in his office, and it was over Scott Hall.
So he fired Scott Hall.
And it was also X-Pac too.
Yeah, he fired X-Pac first, and Nash was pissed about it. So was Hall. Because that was their buddy, and Bischoff fired him. It's like, he sucks. Why would I keep him around? Of course, that pissed off Hall and Nash because they're their buddy. And later, what made Kevin Nash slap Eric Bischoff when he fired Hall, because Hall was having his issue with drugs and alcohol at that point.
Right.
So
I'm gonna turn off my camera for just a minute. I have to do something, so I'll keep talking though.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. And. Yeah, I mean, and that's that with AEW. What's the pay-per-view called? Forbidden Door. I forgot what pay-per-view was called.
Yeah, it's okay.
they do one of these every year now, and it's like, how many times are you gonna do 15 or 13 cold matches in the card? Actually, the Swerve Strickland Will Ospreay match isn't a cold match. That was they're doing an angle, but
Well, I still can't believe that, that they're on the air with all these damn ratings. Or I know we're going to talk about those in a minute, but I mean, for heaven's sakes, you're not going to win anything. It's after that whole Punk thing, they were like, "Oh, we're going to skyrocket in ratings." Oh yeah,
and they did. I mean, when the CM Punk first came in for that Rampage, they drew 1 million viewers, and that was the
Yeah.
first and only time they drew 1 million viewers on Rampage. They wouldn't.
Right.
It never happened again, because, and of course, so yeah. And the reason I initially thought that the main event of All In London would have been Ospreay versus MJF for the world title. That
right.
was the obvious main event in my head. It was like, that's what you got to do. Instead, on Dynamite this past week, here comes MJF with Daniel Garcia, who is the skinniest, pasty white dude you've ever seen. And he does a dance. This is his gimmick. Like, he just does this and
What the hell
gyrates
is
his
that?
hips. He gyrates his hips and does this. That's his
Okay.
little dance, and which the AW fans love. So
No, wait a minute. Time out. Go backwards. So this guy's trying to act like Rick Rude without looking like Rick Rude, and yeah, AEW fans like it.
Yeah, he's basically trying.
Okay.
It's not even like Rick Rude stripper dance, which was good. It actually fit his gimmick and it was good. No, it's just this, and he like kind of like he
Moves
does
his hips
that.
around.
Yeah, and it's like, what is that? And it's over with that audience. Like, what is that?
Like the women's are diamonds down his pockets. Come on, people, let's go. Let's go.
It's like, what is that? Anyways, I digress. Anyways,
Bad cookies, I will beat you up.
Yeah, so anyways, MJF goes out there and cuts his promo, and they basically talk about how good friends he is with Daniel Garcia, and he's and he needs to help him and get him in the higher, help him push him up higher the card, because literally you're just talking about this, like the behind the scenes stuff, like for no reason. So anyway, he eventually challenges Daniel Garcia to a match in All In London. So I'm like,
are they going back to Wembley?
Yeah, they're going back to Wembley.
Okay.
Which, by the way, they're drawing less than what they did the first time.
Is anyone really surprised at that though?
The last year one drew 70-something thousand, which is impressive.
Okay.
I was like, oh wow, they drew 70,000 at Wembley. That's impressive, actually. Then they come back the next year, and so far they only sold 42,000 tickets for Wembley. And Wembley's a gigantic football soccer stadium. That's like nearly 100,000 seats in there in Wembley. That's why Vince never went back to Wembley after SummerSlam '92. Because he could even sell it out with Bret Hart and British Bulldog in the main event.
Right.
So it's like, damn, I can't sell it out British Bulldog. I can't sell it out. I can't come back. Maybe with Hogan he could have sold it out, but Hogan by that point was pretty much out of WWE.
Pretty much out of there, and he had his sights set on doing movies, TV shows, and WCW.
He possibly could have sold it out with Hogan, but even then by '92 I kind of questioned that. So yeah, like I can't sell it British Bulldog. They never went back. To this day, they haven't gone back to Wembley. I mean, that's how. That's how like they can't sell it out. I think today they could sell it out, honestly, because how hot WWE is right now. They could probably sell it out. But I digress. They only so far they sold 42,000 tickets, and there's like 90,000 seats. So how is Tony Khan going to hide the fact that half the stadium is empty? Most likely, I don't know.
Only show the lower part. That's all. Don't show the upper part of the stadium.
Because they drew 80,000 the first time, and it looked good.
I don't know if he was the worst actor ever. Bad Cookies. I did like Mr. Nanny, and I did like Assault on Devil's Island and Assault on Death Mountain. I never even heard of the Sub Commander thingy. I've seen like little trailers for it, but I've never seen it, cover to cover. I don't really know of anything other than that. Make people sit 2 seats apart. for the COVID.
London,
Excuse me.
London, any company can draw in Europe because what did Vince do in the early '90s when they were cold? They went to Europe all the time.
Hmm.
They did tours like 2 or 3 times a year because they can draw there, and the crowds look good, and they can bring it back to the States. Like, see, look, we sold out in London, we sold out in Germany, we sold out in France, we sold out all over the place. So look at how great
Hmm.
WWF is. Make sure you watch on Raw. It's like, they still couldn't draw. I mean, that's how that's how cold WWF was in the early '90s. I was a kid, so I liked it, but looking back on it, it's like, wow, this is some bad TV.
Well, I mean, when I was about 6 years old, 7 years
Yeah.
old when they decided to make Mr. Perfect a babyface.
Yeah.
And this was new territory because before Kurt had not been a babyface in WWE. He had come in
No.
as as himself, but then also he was, Mr. Perfect
Didn't
eventually, and he was a heel. Now,
Yeah.
if they had done instead of having Slaughter, or they could have had Slaughter, but maybe instead of Hogan, if they, because Hogan was starting to, dwindle at that point. They could have
Yeah.
made kind of like Bob Backlund. They could have made Mr. Perfect that all-American boy babyface, because he was from Minnesota, so he was from
Yeah.
the Midwest. Um, and I think that him and Hogan could have gone, toe to toe, or if at the time it could have been Brett and him.
Him and Hogan could have drawn money, and they could have done something. I'm not
Hmm.
saying Hogan never put the belt on him. He wouldn't. I mean, he wouldn't
Oh,
allow Kurt to
he
beat
would.
him.
Because it would be like, okay, Hogan, look, you need to know that you're drying up now. You're not putting asses in seats. And Kurt is basically carrying these matches that are making you look good.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt could have made Hogan like $1 million, even though it was the early '90s, and he was becoming washed up. Basically, that red and yellow Hulkamania character by the early '90s was even that was kind of waning. The
Was
audience
waning,
was sick
right.
of it in the early
Right.
'90s.
And so I think instead of like Hogan in 92 coming back in 93, it could have been Brett and Kurt. Make Brett
Unfortunately,
the heel and make
yeah.
Kurt the babyface, because that was in the middle of Kurt's babyface run anyway.
Unfortunately, Kurt was around too early because a year or two later they would do the Shawn and Brett, match, because Vince didn't believe in smaller guys yet. The
Yeah.
only reason why he did because of steroid trial, and he
Right.
needed guys to be smaller, so it won't be obvious that they're on the juice.
Right.
So if he were around a year or two later, he probably would have been in that those top spots. But
And Kurt admits that he was having personal problems at home, and then he was also having, his back injury was kind of bad again. He had aggravated it in 93,
Mhm.
Especially with that babyface versus babyface match, which we did go over on my
Mhm.
show. Because there's a point where he goes to slam him, but he slams him out of the ring. Like, he literally
Mhm.
does a suplex outside the ring, and you could see
Mhm.
here's the apron and here's Kurt's back, and it just went like this, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
ow.
that's brutal. That's a brutal
Ugh.
bump to take because I'm surprised he took it because his back was bad even then.
Mm-hmm. And it's really sad to see that, because 94 he was kind of in and out, but it was more
Yeah.
of a he was a special guest referee, and he screwed Lex Luger,
Uh-huh.
rightfully so. Lex Luger sucked. But like I say in my show, like, if they had instead of Lex Luger in the Lex Express, which he should have stayed a heel. Lex Luger was better as a
Vince
heel.
Vince killed him off when he turned him babyface and made him into
Yeah.
Hogan 2.0
Yeah.
because he was over as a narcissist, as a heel.
Yes, he
Because
was.
that fit him. That fit him perfectly.
Yeah,
Because
because he
Luger
was
was
a
a narcissist.
narcissist,
Yeah.
behind the scenes and in real life.
So they had the mirror deal where he would come out and do this and
Yeah, he's too busy
this
looking into a mirror. That's what
and
Kurt would
this,
say.
and I was like, he was in
The
love with
Lexer,
himself.
sissy, narcissy.
Yeah. He was
I
in love
love
with
that.
himself, as
Yeah,
a,
he was, and even in real life, he was in love with himself. He thought
which
he
is
was.
why it worked.
Yeah,
because I'm sure in his meeting with Vince, he was pretty arrogant and condescending. It's like, he's a narcissist. That's it.
Right. And they could have what they could have done with Kurt and Brett at this point is, instead of like for Yokozuna. So make Yokozuna from Japan, and Kurt was an American, so he could, they could build him up like he was the Midwestern all-American boy from Minnesota. He grew up second generation,
Yeah,
and they
that
could have
was the
showed him and
spot.
his dad,
Yeah, that was the spot that Bret Hart kind of took up with Yokozuna.
Yeah, I mean, Brett was from Canada. He wasn't from America.
Yeah.
So to build the whole Japan versus America thing, instead of using stupid Luger, who was greener than green even then, literally, they could have just had, Kurt, the All-American boy, born in Minnesota, raised in wrestling and Minnesota, and the whole show picture of him and his dad and him amateur wrestling.
It could have worked, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would have bought tickets for that, and I was only 7 years old, 8 years old.
The way they turned Luger babyface, the Yokozuna did that whole body slam challenge in the Intrepid, the U.S. warship. And, people try to body slam him, they fail. And all of a sudden, the last guy, here comes Luger in a helicopter. Like, and he comes out like in the red, blue, and yellow, and he's a big star. He's like, oh shit, here comes Luger. Next thing you know, he slams him easily, and he wins the body slam challenge on the Intrepid. And here comes the All-American Lex Express, the babyface, and it was a flop.
Yeah.
What's fun is Scott Hall tells the story. Jesus, we're all sweating our asses off and going on the road and traveling. Here's fucking Lex Express Luger, who's not over, having this ridiculous opulent bus with air conditioning and sitting there, in it, and we're in a shitty hoopty, with no air conditioning, sweating our asses off. It was a summer. It was leading to SummerSlam. It was leading to SummerSlam '93.
Right.
So, yeah, they were pissed off. A lot of the boys were pissed off because Luger was getting this big push. He wasn't over. And on top of that, he wouldn't talk to the fans. Like, oh, yeah, do this autograph session and, sign. He barely did it. He's like, he went through the motions, didn't really talk to the fans, didn't interact with them.
Well, and that
he wasn't
doesn't
Hogan.
get you over either. I mean, Kurt
wasn't Hogan.
Kurt loved talking to the fans. He loved getting them riled up. And that was the whole point. You wanted to make it believable.
Mm-hmm.
You hope Roman returns. See, Roman just lost his dad, so let's put that on hold for a minute. Because Roman lost his dad, so let's time out. Let's put that on hold. Roman has a lot to go through right now because he just lost his dad. So I hope so too. I would like to see Roman Reigns back and see what they have in store for maybe Rockin' Roman. But Roman just lost his dad, so let's kind of put that on hold for a minute.
I'm sure that he'll be back in the summer. Not sure when, but yeah, he'll probably be back by SummerSlam because they're setting up that main event with Cody and Solo Sikoa for the world title, and we'll get to it. But Paul Lee, was out there. They were trying to get Paul Lee to say that Solo Sikoa was the new tribal chief, and Paul Lee was like, "No, you're not my tribal chief," and he threw down the thing he put on Roman, that traditional Samoan thing. And I got the biggest babyface pop Paul Heyman ever got.
Yeah, oh my god. And he was emotional and the eyes were red, and
Paul Lee is such an amazing he's like a method actor. He probably didn't sleep for 2 days. He had the bags and he didn't paint his hair and he didn't shave. He's like a method actor, it's like. And he's
Roman is my number one boy.
Vince McMahon's evil mustache.
Yeah, Roman is Roman. I don't think he's sexy. It's like saying The Rock is sexy. No, he's not. Kurt Hennig, this guy right here, this guy, he is sexy. Okay, he is. He's perfect.
Kurt. Then they're setting up that match, and I'm assuming that Roman will return with Paul Lee. And then he'll cost Solo Sikoa the belt, and then they'll set up that Bloodline Civil War.
Right,
and Roman Reigns will, bring back the original Bloodline. Convince the Usos to come back, possibly get Sami Zayn involved in the story somehow, because he was part of the original Bloodline too.
Right, he got an Usi today.
Yeah, and then that sets up their feud for the rest of the year, and then I'm sure Rocky will come back at some point. be
Right,
involved in
right.
that.
And I'd like to
So,
see that Roman versus Rock, if they would ever do that, because I'm interested. Are they going to make The Rock the heel, or are they going to make him a babyface?
well, that final boss character, it's gotten over. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's the way he beat the crap out of Cody and the way that he totally turned. It was the fans liked it. So yeah, so I think that he has to come back as a heel, and
Right.
because he's not going to get more cheers than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is already going to be that uber legend babyface.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because we already see the fans chanting, "We want Roman, we want Roman," and
Really
yeah, that's getting hotter and hotter in the arenas.
interesting.
So when he does come back, he's going to get the biggest babyface pop that you can imagine. And
Yeah,
this was
because wasn't there at one point, like, they were telling, even when Reigns was a babyface, they were telling him to go home. They hated him that much.
Yeah, because the perception was he was Vince's boy.
Ah.
Vince was giving him that super push, and
Mm-hmm.
he became he was in the main events of the WrestleManias against Brock in the early days of his push. And even though Brock was the heel, the fans were behind Brock because they assumed the perception was Roman was Vince's boy, and he
Ah.
was. I mean, Vince gave him that super push and saw him in the Shield. He's like, oh, that's my next top guy. He's gonna
Hmm.
be it. And
Mm-hmm.
initially he wasn't. He just never got over as a babyface. And then eventually, finally, they turned him heel and the whole bloodline thing began. And that's how he got over as a babyface. Because the fans, he was the cool heel, and the fans like to cheer him. And now he's coming back as that uber babyface. I guarantee you he's going to get cheered out of the. I mean, that pop's going to be insane. And he'll probably cost Solo Sikoa the title. And then they'll go from there. So let's see.
Don't listen to the comments. I don't know what they're talking about.
Most of the propaganda being fed to us is pro wrestling tactics. Understand the relationship between The Rock and Triple H. You understand Dem versus Republican. Like I said, pro wrestling and politics are very similar.
Very similar, yeah. Because they want us to swallow all this crap, and it's crap. Usually.
That's a insightful, interesting comment. I mean, I'm impressed. Vince McMahon's evil mustache. That's 100%. I mean,
Bad Cookies is like, don't get her started on Doink. I never found Doink to be funny. I just was kind of like, okay, he's an evil clown. Whoopee.
Yeah, it was an early '90s WWF gimmick. So
I never found, but I never, even outside of wrestling, I never found clowns to be funny. I think they were just kind of dumb, unless they did like magician magic, and then that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so Roman. So, anyways, they did the Angle and SmackDown. We talked about Jacob Fatu debuting last week, or the week before. So, yeah, so they all come to the ring. Paul Lee is there with them, and Paul Lee is Paul Heyman, by the way, and just call him Paul Lee because that's the first time I saw him in WCW. So Paul Lee comes to the ring with them, and Solo cuts a promo, really boring. Solo's not a good leader. They're trying to push him as a leader's new bloodline, and it's just falling flat for me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why he's kind of over, because they hate him and they want Roman back. So that's the only reason why he's over as a heel. Even though to me his promos are flat, I'm not impressed. Anyways, he cuts his boring promo, and then because the whole point of the segment was inducting Jacob Fatu into the bloodline officially. Yeah. So they're going whatever. They didn't use the word inducting, but that's how I'm using. I don't remember the word they used. So they did that.
Initiating him.
Yeah, initiation. Thank you. That's it. Mm-hmm. And they were initiating him to the bloodline. And after they did that, Solo turns to Paul, and then they have the whole stare down. And then he's like, "Okay, now it's time, wise men. You're gonna have to acknowledge me as your tribal chief." And they pull out the deal, what he put on Roman. Then the fans were like, "No, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it." They were into the story. Like, no, don't do it, don't. And then Paul Lee does what he does, and he's like, I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief. And the fans went nuts.
I mean, that was a big
this is the Garden. It's Madison Square Garden. So they were in Madison Square
MGS,
Garden.
huh?
Yep, that was WWF's home, or WWF home for years. You know that they would do all their shows there.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was a big pop. Solo's pissed. He eventually gives him his Samoan spike finish. He goes down. They beat him up a little bit, and then they put Paul E to the table,
Yeah, what
announce
was
table.
that? I mean, it looked like they had to have assistance to get Paulie through it. I mean, even
Yes,
to throw him through it. I'm just like watching, going, why do you need that? Why can't he just pick him up?
they struggled to pick up Paul E. I don't know
I
why. Maybe
know.
he's too big, or he didn't jump properly when they were trying to get him up for the power bomb. I don't know what happened, but yeah,
But
they
I
eventually
guess
got him
they
up.
could they could get him up and say, "Oh, well, it was part of the what we do as a group." You
Yeah.
know, like when you ever see an initiation, I know for, Wiccans and pagans, like our initiation is, oh, we say a few words, over a
Hmm.
candle and, say a few thoughts and stuff. Because we don't really, I guess, initiate, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I mean, it kind of just seemed like it was like a group thing where you just kind of, oh, his internet probably crapped out. So basically, it kind of just looked like, have you ever seen those, like, for the fans watching, if you've ever seen like one of those, I want to say Satanists, but I'll just say like group initiations or group what do they call them, seances or something like that. But if you've ever seen them, it's like the group of people were like lifting him up as if he were like the next savior. That's how it looked like to me. I don't know.
Yeah, they struggled to pick up. I when what happened was, I lost connection, so I'm gone. But it's
Oh, it's
like, you
okay.
stopped talking, and he's like, "Oh, we lost you," and I'm like, "No, it was me." Like, I really, because it said connecting and lost connection. Oh, it's me. So let me reload back in. So
Not
yeah,
thoughts and
they
prayers, bad cookies. It's more like they're called incantations. I can't even talk today.
can
Incantations. That's what we do. That's what Wiccans and pagans do. They're called incantations. They're not really prayers. They're not really thoughts. They're more of just they're words to get us to focus on what we need to do. If that answers your question. So this is being weird in chat because I don't have the equipment to go through live and bullshit with you.
look.
I
You
don't.
don't
Okay.
you don't need much equipment, because all I have is a computer and a microphone.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I have, a computer and a microphone.
Like, you don't need to have fancy equipment to go live. If you have it, great. I mean, you can use it, to have sound effects, and
I mean, you
talk,
can
do
do it
that
like
stuff.
Kit does. Like he goes live and then he does like little snippets,
Yeah,
and then he puts in like whatever he needs to. I usually just record my stuff and then put in the stuff I need later.
yeah. So you don't need necessarily have a lot of equipment. You just need a probably good microphone and just a computer.
And a
There's
cute co-host.
uh-huh. Oh, he doesn't have a Vince
Oh, no
McMahon's
computer.
computer.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah. Well, you can do it on your phone too.
Yeah, I
You
mean, you can
could.
go. You
Greg
could,
was
yeah,
with us and he was on his phone a couple times.
yeah. I haven't. I mean, Greg is doing his own thing on YouTube now.
Yeah,
He's
I've been watching it. I think that's so cool. But I mean,
yeah.
he's, giving it to the man.
Yeah, I like it, but I haven't really spoken to him in the last 3 weeks, so I'm not sure if he's interested in coming back on the show again. But yeah, I
He says
mean,
he hasn't been keeping up with wrestling because he's just been so uh sort of depressed and unmotivated to watch it because of literally it was AEW fans who literally got a butt they got a
oh
butt,
no,
about them and took him off.
yeah,
Hey, 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 hey. I will come through this camera and I'll beat you up, man, cookies.
yeah. I mean, you can go live with your phone. I mean, I
Absolutely, you
mean,
can go live. Yeah, yeah. You don't even
just
need
that,
a microphone for that. You can have one.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you ever want to come on, I mean, we can just use your phone, but that's up to you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, what else? They did the whole Paul E deal. He went to the table. We talked about Bo Dallas. Trying to think what happened on WWE this week. See, it wasn't much because I don't even remember.
Well, and like I said, a lot of people are talking about the Bo Dallas thing, and you said it was a good one. Cornette didn't
Yeah.
really like it. He said that was Vince McMahon bullshit. That he didn't even like it when Bray Wyatt was doing it.
He was never a fan. Yeah,
Yeah, he
I know.
wasn't a big fan of it, and just that they're doing it now in the whole Triple H era. He didn't like it. He thought it was complete garbage. I don't know. I can't specifically talk about it because I
Triple
didn't
H,
really see it.
the
But they
Triple H
had this
era.
this scene that there was blood everywhere, and it was like a horror scene. It was
Yeah,
like
the
that.
first that was when they debuted, or they had
Yeah,
it was like a horror movie
yeah.
basically. Everybody was lying down, with their blood coming out,
But they
and
were talking about like QR codes and like how they were building this up with the QR codes and
yeah,
stuff. I mean, okay, but she can body slam me anytime. Okay. To be honest, again, from what I did see, it was okay if you're into horror stuff. And I love horror movies, especially when they're
yeah.
based on true stories. But I mean, mm, 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 mm. uh I really can't comment other than from what I did see was kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, and then the promo I thought was good too, and then they did the whole deal where it was in Bray Wyatt's old Firefly Funhouse stage.
Right.
At the end,
I
they
mean, this is
revealed
all
that.
his brother's doing.
Yeah.
His brother want to kind of give a contribute to, and also uh he really wanted to remember everyone to remember his brother, as they all remember him as Bray Wyatt. So, and then of course the Fiend, which I think was his alter ego, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't the
Bray
Fiend his
Wyatt's.
alter ego?
Yeah, Bray Wyatt's. Yeah,
Yeah. So he wanted
he
to.
couldn't. Yeah, Bray Wyatt. I mean, the Fiend, was invulnerable to pain, and he couldn't get
Right.
beat. So that was that whole thing. Yeah, and eventually, I don't know. This doesn't. I get the point that it doesn't fit in today's WWE because they're more real based and sports based and stuff. So I'm not sure how this fits in today's WWE, but it's not Vince McMahon's WWE anymore. So it's like, yeah, when Cornette says this is Vince McMahon shit, it's like
Horror
horror
movies.
movies.
I
I
said
heard horror
horror.
movies and
Horror.
maybe think of Anna Kasparian's OnlyFans.
Oh, Mrs. She needs to stop showing her behind to everybody. I hate that lady.
Yeah.
No, I said horror, not whore.
Yeah, so yeah, it was. I liked the promo, but I just don't know how this fits in Vince McMahon's WWE or Triple H's WWE. Sorry.
Whoa.
So
Triple H will beat you up for that.
yeah, so it's just not good. It just doesn't fit. But the story itself so far is good. But what are you
Hey,
gonna
I
do
like
with him?
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 3. I want to see the new Ghostbusters too. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I want to see the ice one. But it's not out yet, I don't think.
I don't know.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, the angle is just bad. Not the angle. It just doesn't fit, and I don't know what to think of it. It's just more like they're giving it a chance. What are you gonna do? Is Uncle Howdy gonna have matches, or is Bo Dallas gonna have matches? I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with this.
Yeah, I understand that point. I think this was just a tribute to his brother. That his brother was
Hmm.
taken from us, and he was
Yeah,
younger he was 1 year younger than both of us. He
yeah,
was born in
I know.
87.
Yeah,
And he went too fast, and he didn't really get to tell the stories that they wanted to tell, that it was his brother that was behind all that.
yeah. It's
Um
just
so I
unfortunate.
think this is just a tribute. Wherever this goes, I hope that they do well with it, but we'll see. We'll see what
I hope
happens.
they do because if this doesn't go well, then or it's not flopping. To be fair, the audience is into it, so it's not like they're not reacting to it. They definitely
There
are
was
reacting
mixed
to it.
comments on Cornette's YouTube. There was like some were totally for it, some were totally against it, and then some were like, yeah, okay, it's here, but you know, so it was kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, because these are a lot of them are Cornette's audience, so they're more old school, wrestling,
Hmm.
oriented. So
It was like
it's
The
a mixed bag.
Undertaker, you know.
Mm.
Everyone thought The Undertaker was going to be a big flop, and then The Undertaker ended up being one of the top superstars in wrestling altogether. So
That,
let's just calm down
yeah,
and see where this goes.
yeah, because the Undertaker, that character should have been a flop. It was ridiculous,
Hmm.
but at the same time, Vince chose the right guy for it. Mark
Hmm.
Calloway, because he made it into what it was, legendary gimmick and character. But apparently he had the Undertaker in his mind for years. I mean, going back to the '80s, but he just never found the right guy to fill the gimmick. And so he saw Mark Calloway. He's like,
Hmm.
he could work. He's a great athlete, but he's
He's
old.
also 6'9",
He's 6'9", he's 6'10", 6'9", something like
6'10",
that.
6'9",
Yeah,
6'10".
so he
He was
was
a tall
huge.
dude.
Yeah. And he thought, well, he needs to be dressed up. So, oh
Well,
yeah,
and
my
then when they put
Undertaker
him with
gimmick.
Percy, who was
Mm.
the
Yeah,
Percy
Paul
Pringle was
Bearer.
his name? Paul
Yeah,
Bearer, yeah.
yeah,
So when
Percy
they put him
Pringle.
with Paul Bearer and they
Mm.
had Paul Bearer in all that getup, it just
Hmm.
it just fit. It just
Yeah,
worked.
yeah. And Paul Bearer, legitimately, when he's not working as a wrestler, was a mortician. So it just fit.
Yeah, that was crazy
That
cool.
was a shoot. Yeah, that was for shoot. When he wasn't in wrestling, he was a mortician. That's how he made a
Yeah.
living.
My
Well,
boss's wife is a mortician, so
oh
I
wow.
like ask her all these like little questions, and she she listens to me and she's happy to answer her. I love Corinne. I love you, Corinne. But yeah, like he okay, so yeah, Cornette thought that, you know, Undertaker was a good thing, but he thinks this is crap. Again, everyone's going to have their opinion. Let's just see how it goes. Maybe Triple H will not make it like Vince did, kind of like a side Carney show, but maybe like he'll take it to a deeper level. You know what I mean? Like
That promo was
Triple H
deep.
has a psychology that he could probably make it into something like
Hmm.
The Undertaker did.
Bray Wyatt was Undertaker kind of passed the torch to him. If you back on Raw before he died,
Hmm.
he kind of handed him his torch, as the modern day Undertaker.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't last much longer after that, but he kind of
Yeah, we're
handed him the
sorry.
torch. Yeah, rest in peace.
That
But
was really sudden, and honestly, when I saw the Big Show, who had been around, well, because we all knew his dad. We knew Bray
yeah,
Wyatt's dad.
hmm
Real name was Wilhelm. Uh, sorry, what's IRS's real name? Mike something.
Mike Rotunda.
Rotunda, yes. So it was
Hmm.
Wilhelm Rotunda was Bray Wyatt's real name,
Yeah,
and
Wyndham.
yeah, Wyndham,
Because
named
he
after
named
his
him
uncle
Barry Wyndham.
Barry Wyndham. Yeah.
That's
So his uncle, yeah. And I've seen the interview with Barry Windham.
hmm
He talks about all that, and Mike actually asked him if he could date his sister, and then asked his dad, "Can I date your daughter?" But he was like super like cool and stuff, and Mike was a super cool dude, still is. So,
yeah.
but I did not know that Bray Wyatt was actually second generation and that his
Yeah.
dad was Mike Rotunda. I did not know
hmm
that until they came out with like that. But when I saw the Big Show, and he was very emotional, and then I got very emotional because I didn't know
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt very well,
hmm
but I knew who Mike Rotunda was, IRS,
Yeah.
and then Wall Street when he got into WCW. And my heart broke for Mike Rotunda. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
can't
He was.
imagine losing my
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. He was devastated, and I think he got in the Hall of Fame this year as when they did the tag team. Him and I think Barry Windham. They were All American Express in WWF.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In '84 and '85, I
Yeah.
think.
They got in the Hall of Fame with that tag team. He was emotional even then, and
Hmm.
and eventually the whole deal when they turned off the lights and the fans, turned for Bray, they turned on their flashlights and then they started doing this
Yeah, he's
to
got the
honor
whole.
Bray.
When they did
Yeah.
that, when he
hmm
first passed, they did that. He got the whole
Yeah.
world in
hmm
his hands. I just started. I lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. It was, it was tough for Mike. I'm glad he got in the Hall of Fame though, as a part of his tag team with his brother, his
Brother-in-law.
what was it?
Yeah.
Brother-in-law. Yeah. So you had the All American Express. They were tag team champ. This is before he became IRS in the 90s, but
Right.
that was
And
their initial run.
right, that was their initial run, and then in like 91 and 92, Mike Rotunda came back in as IRS. And he was with the $1 Million Man. They had Money Inc. and stuff. And then he kind of went to WCW, became Wall Street. And
Yeah, because that was honestly IRS was his most over gimmick in his entire career. It was like he's known to this
because
day. He's
everyone loved to
IRS.
hate him. He's like, pay
Yeah,
your taxes. I'm like, I
yeah,
do. Do you?
yeah. To
No,
this
wrestlers
day,
had to.
yeah. To this day,
or
he's not.
or
He's
wrestlers.
remembered as IRS more than anything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because
it's
like
like
literally, people love to hate him.
yeah,
Because IRS was the heel, the big bad IRS. Everyone loved to
yeah.
hate IRS
It
because
was
he was a heel.
that was his initials for his Erwin R. Shyster. That
Yeah,
was
that
his
was
name.
IRS. Yeah,
hmm
everyone like Erwin. He's like, shut up.
hmm Yeah, so it was Vince wanted to use the initials IRS. So it's
Yep.
like, how do we Erwin R. Shyster? Because he's
Yep.
a shyster. Like there
He's
you
a
go.
shyster. He's a
Yeah. hmm
he does shenanigans.
hmm Yeah, Mike Rotunda was he's big.
Yeah,
He's
no one's saying he was a small dude. No. I would never
uh,
say that. No, I mean he was like big as IRS. He was the character was over
yeah.
because everyone loved to hate him because everyone hated the IRS. Really, they hated paying taxes, and as we can see, it's all theft. I
hmm
mean, you do have to pay for things like roads and stuff, but they don't do that anymore with our taxes. They
No.
they give it to war and they give it
hmm
to Israel and stuff. So,
That
um, that character was very over because a lot of people back then didn't want to pay taxes, like they
hmm
don't want to now because it's leading to the Palestinian thing and it's literally dragging us down. They're paying for stuff. They're not paying for us, which is what our tax dollars should be paying for, is to help, roads and bridges. But no, they want to send it over to Israel for a genocide, or they want to
hmm
send it to more wars that are unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean it's not
So
good.
I just mean the character was over
Yeah.
though, because a lot of people didn't like the IRS, and rightfully so. The IRS sucks. They
Yeah,
would
so
rather go
you
after
have
people like me for God forbid I do tax fraud, but yet the corporations and the rich people can do tax fraud all day long and they call it loopholes. No, it's
yeah.
fraud, it's evasion. That's why you have millions in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, it's called tax evasion, but at the same time, it's like they have it in the code where you can delay delay your taxes or put it off a year.
Yep.
That's what these corporations do. Every year they file the paperwork to put it off for a year.
That's right.
And
I pay more in taxes than
hmm
UPS, FedEx, any of these major corporations. I pay
you
more in
pay
taxes than they do.
we pay more than Apple, and Apple.
Yes,
They're
sir.
the first and only trillion to the T $1 trillion corporation. T
Yes. And
with a
I
T,
think
not
Jeff
not a B.
Bezos is very close to being the first trillionaire.
Yes, he is. And
Yeah.
if he buys some sports franchises, I'm sure that he would be the first trillionaire because those worth, the sports teams are worth billions. So I'm not sure how close he is to becoming a trillionaire, but
It's pretty close. Yeah, he was on track during the whole pandemic thing.
hmm
He was on track to being the first trillionaire. It's really disgusting because I mean, if you honestly look up and I mean, to be honest, it's really getting to the point of like Gates, Bezos, Elon Musk.
hmm
These people hate poor people. They hate the sight of us. They
yeah,
cannot stand to breathe
yeah.
the same air that we do. And I don't like Alex Jones. I never liked Alex Jones. I laughed at him the first time he said NWO. I went, NWO, that's not a thing anymore. It's WCW's dead. Um, when he talks about that stuff, he said rich people can't even be in the same room or breathe the same air that poor people are doing, and that's why they want to basically
Where
delete 90% of
mhm.
us.
Yeah, where the you
They
ever
poisoned our food supply, they poisoned our water, they have poisoned our air, they're poisoning our soil so that we can't
hmm
Gates is and I hate to put the politics here, but Gates is one of the biggest farm owners in the United States, more than all
Yeah.
the farmers in the United States. And why is that? Because they want to control the food supply. Because once they control that food supply, guess what? We're eating the GMOs. We're eating the
Mhm.
bugs.
Yeah, I mean those GMOs, they kill you. I mean, most countries have banned this already. They banned GMOs except for us, but so the Undertaker died. But yeah,
There was a rumor, and I'm not kidding. This happened with the Ultimate Warrior and with the
yes.
Undertaker. They
Mhm.
said people were saying there was 2 Undertakers. Nope, just one. There was one
Uh,
Undertaker.
Bri-
I don't even know how
who
that got
was it?
started.
Who was it? Who was the fake Undertaker? Was it Brian Lee, or
Brian Lee, yeah, over on
he
the
was
other
the fake?
side. Wasn't
Yeah, he
he in
was
WCW?
yeah, he came in as like the fake Undertaker because if you remember '93 Royal Rumble, all the heels beat the shit out of Undertaker and
Mhm.
helped Yokozuna win the casket match. And then Undertaker went to heaven, or I don't know, but his spirit just went up to the rafters. So
They didn't even
Vince
do
did that
that in
whole
the Buried
thing.
Alive match with him and Austin, and and Undertaker got buried alive, but not
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Um,
but they did that whole angle, and then by '94, Ted DiBiase said he found Undertaker. He's gonna bring him back to television, and then that's
and
when they
that's
did
where
the
the
fake
2
Undertaker.
Undertakers came in,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's when
Same
they
with the Warrior. A lot of people had rumored that the Warrior died of oh, that's thunder. Is that
yeah.
on your side or my
Yeah,
side?
that's my side. Yeah, it's
Oh
here.
no.
Yeah.
He's getting hit. Oh, they said it was supposed to rain here, but I
Yeah,
don't think it was thunderstorm. Oh my goodness. Boy,
yeah,
that
it's
was
thunder.
loud, y'all. I
Yeah,
feel
my
like I
mic
should be
picked it
doing
up.
like some kind of ASMR. So like, it's 9 o'clock. Do you know
Yeah,
where
my
your
mic
kids
picked it
are?
up big time. That's why
But
I like.
anyway, there was yeah, this was also the rumor with the Ultimate Warrior, where there was 2 Ultimate Warriors. Supposedly the
Yeah,
first one died of steroids,
yeah.
an overdose or something like that, and then another one came in. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure
You
that's the
know,
original.
it's Jim Hellwig.
It was
Problem
Jim
is,
Hellwig.
Jim Hellwig was a lot smaller when he came back,
Unless they were
and
thinking
he,
of Renegade, who was supposed to be the spin-off of the Ultimate Warrior.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
WCW. But when Jim Hellwig came back in like what was it, a WrestleMania 9, I think it was. No,
Ultimate
8. It was no, when they did the double main event, it was 7.
No, it was
It
8.
was
It
it
was
was
8.
Hogan and Sid and Flair and Savage.
Right,
The
Flair and
double main
Savage, because
event.
Kurt was supposed to be at ringside.
Yeah. It's a double main event because Flair and Hogan couldn't come up with a finish. That was Vince's initial main event, WrestleMania 8.
Sid, I don't know why I didn't like Sid. Sorry. Couldn't
So
get into Sid.
it was Hogan versus Sid in Hogan's retirement match.
Oh
But
gosh.
Hogan didn't want to do a job in his retirement match.
Wow.
So that's why I ended up being Sid won by disqualification or whatever. So Hogan's retirement match, he couldn't do a job in the middle of the ring.
I only like the Flair Savage match because Kurt was at ringside, or he was supposed to be.
Thanks, Bad Cookies. Yeah, it is a really good mic. Is obviously
Yeah.
picking up that
That was
thunder.
loud, y'all. That was loud. I
Like
never heard lightning that far, that close. Holy crap. Sounds like you
yeah,
just took the microphone out the window.
yeah, it's here next, like literally, like right next to me here. But the window's all over here, so it's not even
Okay.
not even that close to the window. So like, I'm surprised it picked it up that well. But
Well, you have your
yeah,
window open, right? Because I don't think you have air conditioning.
yeah, no, I have window open. I have a fan on.
No,
So
that's cool. I like
yeah.
I
No,
like
no,
that.
I'm not saying that you're and now
Because
it's
I can hear
raining,
people.
but
Yeah, I can hear
yeah.
people yelling.
Again, you heard that? It's picking it
Yeah.
up. Wow.
Oh yeah. Like woo. That's
Yeah,
just people
so
excited for our show. They just love when we
yeah.
talk about wrestling.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean they did the fake Undertaker thing and eventually, but the issue is that it was kind of a flop because
Big time pop.
I realized quickly that that's not the Undertaker because
Mm-mm.
he was doing the moves differently. Because I think Jim Cornette was there at that point. They were
Mhm.
helping him try to become like Mark Calloway, and I work like him, the Undertaker, and see where their fans got fooled, and they really didn't. I mean, it was like they knew it wasn't the Undertaker.
Right, and
It
it
was some
wasn't
kind of
like
fake.
it was kind of like the fake Razor and fake Diesel, who was
Oh, that
Glenn
was bad.
Jacobs was Diesel. Oh, it
Yeah, that
was
was
so
bad.
bad that like literally they were writing in magazines how horrible it was.
Yeah, that's another. Jim Cornette was forced to help train Glenn Jacobs, and I
Yep.
think Rick Wagner played Razor.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Glenn can work, and it was easier to teach Glenn how to be Diesel because that's the whole 6 moves thing. Cornette told the story
Right,
about.
because Kevin Nash only had about 6 moves because he was
Yeah.
a big guy.
And that included the hair flip. That whole
Yep.
so
Like
he
that.
really had 5 moves. I mean, he counted the hair flip.
Hey, I loved it when Kurt did it. I was like, come
It
over
was
here, I'll flip
easier.
your hair.
It was easier to teach Glenn Jacobs how to be Kevin Nash, and he kind of pulled it off. But then Rick Wagner was harder because Scott can actually wrestle, so he had all these moves. It's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, why did Vince say, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna have Razor and Diesel on television"? Why not? I own the characters anyways. And
Yeah.
Jim Cornette was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be
Yeah,
horrible."
no, because we know
This
that
is-
they're not going to be like the Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Yeah. Like, and Jim Cornette already hated Kevin Nash, but he liked Scott Hall because Scott Hall can wrestle. So he didn't
Well,
like
and
Scott
he-
Hall as a person, but he liked him. Liked his
Yeah,
wrestling.
but I mean, he liked his wrestling because even back in AWA, Scott showed some real promise, and to see Scott Hall in AWA is like culture shock. I didn't even know that was him because he has the fro, and then he also has the mustache, and then the
he's
boots and the
huge.
cowboy get up, and without the hat because sometimes he would wear the hat, I think, but
He
it's
was-
like, oh, that's
Scott
Scott
Hall
Hall.
was huge. He was
Yeah.
huge. He's bigger than he was when he came Razor.
Mm-hmm.
He's bigger. He's like 270, 280. It's like he was like,
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's
And
Scott
him
Hall?
and Kurt were I mean, when I saw the Scott Hall, he talked about Kurt Hennig. He said he couldn't have enough good things to say about Kurt. Kurt really took him under his wing, really taught him how to wrestle. So most of the wrestling that you see from Scott Hall was not only Vern and Greg Gagne, but also Kurt Hennig as well. Because Kurt just said, "I'll work with you." And
he would have been AWA then, right? When Scott Hall debuted, or he was
Scott came in 84, 85, and then in 85 and 86, him and Scott Hall, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall were the AWA Tag Team Champions.
Oh, yeah.
I know they defended their championships on the day of my birth, April 20th, 1986. They were against the Rough Riders.
Yeah, and I know Kurt would become AWA World Champion eventually.
Yes, in 87 and then 88 too. Yep.
Yeah, that was the dying days of AWA. It didn't really mean as much, but he was still AWA World Champion, so it was.
Well, and if you ever heard Kurt in an interview say, it was kind of he kind of stayed in because Vern had already promised him he would be champ, but he said, "Look, Vern, as soon as you take the belt off me, I'm gonna go to WWF at the time, because him and Vince and him had already made an offer."
Yeah.
And he fulfilled as much as he could. He just told the booker, "Hey, don't book me after a certain date because I'm gonna go to WWF."
And he dropped the belt and went
To
on.
Jerry Lawler of all people.
Oh,
who
yeah,
wasn't even an AWA guy.
Oh no, I'm confused. Lawler did the match with Kerry Von Erich where he's combined all these belts. I do remember. I saw that match.
Right. So this was the dying days of the territories and AWA. And as soon as Kurt dropped the belt, Lawler said in his tribute to Kurt, in the Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, if you want to look that up, it's on Peacock.
Yeah.
He said it was a couple of matches. They had done a couple of matches together, and then finally, when Lawler won the belt, he said those were the greatest matches of his whole career, is with Kurt.
And Lawler was past his prime by that point. He's 88.
Yeah, he was past his prime, but I mean, Kurt still worked with him and was still agile enough to make him look good. And when he dropped the belt, like a week after he dropped the belt, he went to WWF. So,
and Lawler would go to WWF years later, in the early 90s.
Years later, right, when he was not doing the indie circuits.
Yeah, he came in as a wrestler initially, but eventually transitioned to the commentary booth. And that's I think an alarm going off. But this mic picks everything up.
I'm serious. What the hell? It's like my mic picks up like me, and I sound like trash. But sorry, doctor won't kill me.
It's a HyperX mic. It's usually on set. It's $100 mic usually, but Now I got it on sale on Amazon for $60, so I took advantage of it.
Mine was $300 and I had to save up for it. It's a Shure. It's
Oh,
the
wow.
same one that Jimmy Dore has. And
Oh,
he has
okay.
several of them. I can't imagine spending
Yeah.
like $600 to $900 on a couple of mics. But I mean, I am by myself, and it is great
Yeah.
quality, I think.
Yeah,
It's
it
just I
is.
sound like crap because I'm
Mm.
sick.
Yeah. So yeah, I couldn't. I'm not gonna because what happened was I started doing Angel in the afternoon, and I had one of these mics initially where you go to the early
Right.
episodes.
My co-host on Black Magic Talk, Matt Collins, has one of those. Yeah.
And the sound was crap. It's like $20 I had it. So people always complained about the mic, crackling, and so it wasn't good quality. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to upgrade and take this more seriously, this podcasting. So I got this mic, and ever since then, people have stopped complaining about it. It's like good, because I'm sure it's probably people went away, didn't really watch the show. So.
Well, then it's not cracking anymore. It was cracking there for a little bit, but
Yeah,
my
because
mic
I
came
had
with
it.
a Happy Meal. I'll give you a Happy Meal.
Yeah, because because I had it here, and I'm sure the mic picked up
And it was
the
cracking because
audio.
of the, yeah.
It picked up the audio when we watch videos and stuff. We usually don't on the show, but I had it too close.
Hey, we
Now I
could.
have
I
it
mean, if it
perfect.
wasn't copyrighted, I just would be afraid it was copyrighted. You never know. AEW may throw a hissy fit because we showed one of their things. And actually, they would probably get more views from us reviewing it than they would actually when it aired.
Yeah, that's the thing. They should probably let people show their footage. I know WWE has no reason to let people show their footage because they're already the number one company. They don't need promotion from small podcasters, but AEW does, and they should
Yeah.
allow. But the problem is, they do that, then all people will make fun of them, and they're going to show the footage.
Yeah, and then they get all butthurt and try to
Yeah.
be like their little fan people, and then oh well, you can't do this, or we'll take
They
your
would
channel
strike me.
down.
They would strike my channel. They would strike INN's channel, and that's not really my channel. They're the organization, or I'm part of the network, but I don't want to use their channel to to play copyrighted material, and then I'm not going to screw over the channel like that. But yeah, I digress. I mean, it's AEW is horrible. I haven't watched it in a month. I mean, and I could watch it. I have YouTube TV on my computer. I just don't. I'm not motivated to do it. Like Greg isn't motivated to watch either. I don't blame him. It is
That's
bad.
because fanboys of AEW took his
Yeah. They
channel down
ruined
for
his.
no
They
freaking reason.
they ruined his Twitter account. He had 1,000 followers, and they talk about wrestling, and these little pricks, come around and ruined his X account and took it away. He still hasn't gotten it back, and he's tagged Elon Musk in every tweet, nearly every tweet. And I'm like, well, God bless you. I retweet him a lot, but it's like Elon Musk is not going to care,
No,
to
Elon
give you
Musk does
back your
not care
account.
about us peons or our accounts. Don't let him fool you. Elon Musk, just because he took over X, doesn't mean there's still not a bunch of censorship going on.
No, and Fiorella lost her YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure you
saw
heard
that
about
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had 50,000 subscribers. It's Fiorella in Russia.
Yeah,
So,
that's so disgusting.
yeah, it's not X, but yeah, I get it's a censorship our conversation. So she lost her YouTube channel. Luckily,
And
she
all
still
because
have
of that bull propaganda around Russia. I mean,
yeah.
it's like
I
it's
remember
like
when she first
it's RT America. Jesse Ventura lost his show. Chris Hedges lost his just because
the
bad
sanctions.
Russia. Russia didn't do
Sanctions.
anything.
When they invaded Ukraine, the sanctions him, and all of a sudden they couldn't fund RT anymore from Russia.
Right.
So everybody lost their jobs at that point.
And these were people that literally were speaking the truth.
Yeah. And it was convenient for the government to get rid of, to do these sanctions, so they couldn't fund RT anymore. The same thing happened with Telesur TV, which is owned by the Venezuelan government. Abby Martin worked there at one point, and they sanctioned Venezuela in the Trump administration. So that disappeared here in the U.S. It still exists, but they can't fund it here in the U.S. anymore. So
And
that's why
honestly,
it's
if
gone.
anyone says that, oh well, Uh, I just think it's so disgusting how, oh, well, we can't have this because we want to spread propaganda. Look, y'all, you can believe what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, you can believe CNN and MSNBC and Fox News are telling you the truth, or you can stop being a sheep and you can believe what Kit Cabello is telling you and Angel in the Afternoon Show is telling you. Because one day it's not going to matter. The rich are going to take over. That's why they want to start these CBDCs. I was telling my dad this. This is why they're trying to they're trying to take away the petrodollar. That's why they're
Yeah.
allowing the petrodollar to go away, because they want us all in these CBDCs. And literally, once they do that, guess what? You do something wrong, they're going to cut you off. You can't pay bills, you can't get groceries, you can't do nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of had a troll hater, so I just blocked him.
Okay, because I was like, I had something go wrong and now I can't see the comments.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
mean,
good. It's all good.
yeah, because she's like, oh, she calling you ugly and me, oh, you're not handsome either, trying to troll me. So it's like, you're done. It came from Twitch, so it's like I'm streaming
Well,
on
I'm
Twitch too.
sorry. Blessed be to you that you don't find things like me and Angel pretty.
And he's like, or he
Sorry
or
for
she
you.
was like, oh yeah, block me. I know you see this, and I'm looking, and I was like, okay, I'll block you. I mean, I don't care. Get out of here. So
I'll call you it. I don't
but
have a
yeah,
son here. He's with his dad this week, so
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I started doing Angel in the Afternoon, and I need a new mic, so fuck it. It's like, let me invest in a mic so people stop complaining. And then it was still crap, and I realized it's way too close to me. So I was like, okay, let's put it there. Because
no,
we
I
were
mean I
playing.
can't even say it, and your audio is like perfect. No offense, Mr.
Uh-huh.
Perfect, but
Yeah, I mean, thank you. But yeah, it's far enough away where, you know, like I could do that. And oops. I fucked up.
oh, he's messing his mic up, y'all.
No, I have it up, where it's next to not next to my mouth, but it could pick up my mouth, and I did that. It kind of did that. It
Y'all can
went
see
down.
my mic. It looks like the one that Jimmy Dore has.
If
If
I
you watch
didn't have,
Jimmy Dore, it's the one that Jimmy Dore has.
I'm
And it was freaking expensive, y'all. That's what I got to say. It was freaking expensive.
oh yeah,
But
that mic
it
is
has really good
expensive.
quality and stuff.
Yeah.
So I will commend Jimmy Dore on having nice things, but they are expensive. I literally had to save up for it. That's why,
So
like, I
yeah,
work almost every Saturday. I didn't work this Saturday because, like, literally my boss had gotten the flu, and so I had to work every day, open to close.
yeah, I had to block somebody because they were, hate trolling, and they wanted me to block them. So I was like, okay, you're blocked. I mean, I
Okay,
don't
you're blocked.
understand why, you even came on here. You wanted to get blocked.
Maybe it was an AEW troll.
It could have been. It could have been because I'm like, yeah, I don't know why they wanted that. Jimmy Dore is cucking to right wing culture for money.
I don't know if he's cucking, but I mean, it is his show, and I will say
Yeah,
this before we wrap up
yeah.
that I
You got
watched the interview with Candace Owens. I do not
Mm-hmm.
like Candace Owens. There was some things I agreed with, but
Yeah.
then there was also stuff that I was like screaming at my phone, going, "I can't believe you glossed that over." Like Jimmy didn't even mention the fact that she said, "Oh, we should let the police out because they didn't really care. They didn't really kill George Floyd." Well, first of
Mm-hmm.
all, okay, even if you take, I will give her that. Okay, let's say the
Yeah.
cops didn't do it and he died of a fentanyl overdose
Fentanyl.
or
Mm-hmm.
something. Okay,
That's
I'll
the
give her that. But let's remember, guys, during the peaceful protests, the people who were peacefully protesting, the cops were beating the shit out of. So you
yeah.
want those cops to go out and be free and start beating up more poor people? Is that what you want, Candace Owens? Because again,
Yeah.
remember, everyone goes, "Oh,"
That's
she goes, "Oh, the establishment, the deep state, blah blah blah." Candace Owens is the establishment. She is still part of the rich, guys. She is
yeah.
still rich.
She
She
got
will be rich for the rest of her fucking days. You guys need to.
uh,
And I'm not just talking, some people that watch Candace Owens and think she's the shit. Tucker Carlson is another one. There's a lot of things I agree with Tucker Carlson on, but again, he is the establishment. Even though they kicked him off of Fox News, they kicked Candace Owens off of Daily Mail. Great.
Yeah.
And then it was always, well, first of all, she talked about, the police and stuff. Oh, we should let them out. Again, she is part of the rich. The police are only out to serve rich people. They only protect and preserve rich people. So Candace Owens, yes, of course she wants those cops out so they can beat up more poor people at her expense. So for her bidding. So they will protect and serve rich people and beat up more poor people. Because and Jimmy showed this on his show. And I was I even, commented on Jimmy's, thing, and I'm glad he didn't block me. But I mean, it was you can have any guest you want on, because on Monday he's going to have James Corbett. And I love James Corbett. I was watching his 9/11 stuff. It's really, really good so far. And I love Scott Ritter. I love when he has Scott Ritter on, because he asked Scott Ritter about the whole, oh, you're a pedophile thing. And he wasn't. He explained what happened, and he's not really a pedophile. And even so he explained all that. She was saying he did segments during the George Floyd protest. Jimmy Dore did this. He did segments about cops beating up peaceful protesters, people who were being peaceful, who weren't feds. They weren't doing anything. They weren't vandalizing anything. She glossed over what he covered. He covered police beating up peaceful protesters, throwing them on the floor, bombing them, smoking them. She glossed over all that stuff. And literally, he let her do it. And I was very disappointed. But again, it is his show. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
I just didn't like the fact that she glossed over the fact that cops were literally pushing poor people down on the ground, giving them seizures. There was a car that went through a crowd of people who were peacefully protesting. A police car who hurt people. They were hurting people.
Yeah, they did it on purpose.
She glossed it all over like, oh, well, we should always bow down to authority. I went, no, I'm not bowing down to pigs who protect and serve rich people. No, that's not happening. Then she played the victim of, oh, I'm a Christian. Oh, our poor Christians are being
because she got fired.
I went, oh, go screw yourself. The Christians killed their own. Bloody Mary killed Protestants. Elizabeth killed Catholics. For heaven's sakes, this is called history. And yes, I do know Christianity history because I grew up Methodist. So if you want to play the victim card, I hate to tell you, but Christians, Muslims, and Jews all have blood on their hands because they all killed pagans and Wiccans. So knock it off with whole Christians, boo-hoo. Go screw yourself.
She got fired from the Blaze. She worked for Glenn
Beck.
Beck.
For being Christian, I understand that, for saying Christ
and
is
she was anti-Zionist, or at least pushed out on her show in the Blaze. And Glenn Beck's like, no, you gotta be pro-Zionist.
Saying, like, on his show, oh, I'm a Christian first. I'm a Christian first. Great. I don't give a fuck. What the hell does that have to do with me? I'm a Wiccan. I don't see me saying, oh, I'm a Wiccan first. You have to believe in Wiccan or I'll kill you. Christians can't say that. Christians have killed every other religion, even their own.
Yeah. White supremacists I bootlegged for years got me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wouldn't say, the thing is, she was correct. They're trying to make this a race thing, and it's not a race thing anymore. It's poor versus rich, and that's what it should be. It's not black versus white anymore. It's rich versus poor, and we need to stick up to the rich and say, we're not going to take your bullshit anymore.
Yeah, I didn't see the interview. Jimmy wants money now. He's got the bug. Yeah, he's been doing a lot more. He's been doing a lot more sponsors lately. And they're ridiculous things like supplements and
well, not the supplements, but I mean the gold thing. Because I told him on a premium streamium, I actually told him the history where in 1934 the Fed made them give their gold back or they would fine or jail them.
Yeah.
And I said, Jimmy, what makes you think if you have all that gold, they won't do the same thing? And they don't have to give you dick for it. They don't have to give anything back for it.
The idea is investing in gold because it's always valuable. But at the same time, the feds can take it away and not give you anything for it.
And not give you anything for it because they don't want poor people to have money. That's the thing. Rich people do not want us poor to have any money. They want us to own nothing, be happy, and eat sea bugs or the GMOs.
Yeah, he's doing a lot more sponsors lately, and the gold thing was saying like,
I let that
that's
go because
brutal.
again, he
That's
has
not
a
good.
good guy coming up on Monday. He
Yeah,
has James Corbett, and I love James
yeah,
Corbett. Like I said, I was just watching his 9/11 stuff. So, and I
yeah,
mean, we're just about to wrap up anyway. So I'm
yeah.
sorry. Those were my grievances, and that's what I. I
Yeah,
mean, I
real
love
quick,
Jimmy Dore. I just got a signed shirt from him because I upped my premium
uh-huh, yeah,
membership. And at $25 a month, you can get a signed shirt from him. And I
uh,
was really excited when I got it. I wanted to wear it, but I was like, well, this is a wrestling show, not a political one.
yeah. Well, you could have worn it, but yeah, I
I'll wear it
mean,
next week. How about that?
okay, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, just one more thing on Jimmy Dore before we got to go. So it's like, yeah, people got mad at him over the RFK interview. Remember that because he,
And the Dr. West, yeah, because they said he was
yeah,
harder on West than he was on RFK. No, he pushed back on RFK. He just didn't
yeah,
understand the whole Israel
Israel.
thing.
And
Yeah,
he kind of people thought it was a cop out, like, yeah, I don't know much about Israel, so I'm gonna let you say what you want and not challenge you. Which people got
right.
upset about, in the liberal media, in the online liberal media, is attacking him for it. I'm like, he didn't
But the
know, you
but the
know.
Cornell West thing, Cornell
It-
West was screwing himself. He was the one saying, "Oh, it's you're a white supremacist, you're a
oh
Trumper, blah
God,
blah
that was
blah,"
awful.
and that was awful. You don't
that
say that
ended
kind of stuff.
that ended Cornell West campaign.
Hmm.
I mean,
That's why,
he's dead in the water.
and this is what I say. I don't mean any like bad things towards Jill Stein. People, if you want to vote for Jill Stein, go ahead. But
Third
again, guys,
party,
she's not going to
whatever.
do anything. She has Peter Dow stench on her, and I had a guy go, "Well, that Peter Dow stench is just you can
Yeah,
overlook that." I went, "Overlook it,
no.
overlook it."
He had,
Peter Dow made it his mission to take out Bernie Sanders.
yeah.
Do you not understand that if she is friends with Peter Dow, she is the establishment now? She
hmm
is a sellout, just like Cornell West.
Peter
But
Dow
again, you
was
do what you want.
Peter Dow back in 2016 was like the Clinton, online hitman. Like
Oh, but now he changed his ways. Yeah, sure.
he
Sure
smeared
he
Bernie
did.
Sanders all the time. He would, and we would all argue with him on like X and then was Twitter.
Right. Right. And then now all of a
Mhm.
sudden he changed his ways. Yeah, sure he changed his ways. Yeah, sure.
He put out a post like, I apologize. I trusted the Clintons. He worked for the Clintons for years, so it's like, I trusted the Clintons, but after that it didn't work, and I'm so sorry. Please forgive me,
Oh,
guys.
please forgive
Let
me.
me.
I'll never do it again. And then
I work with Greens. First he worked for Cornell West, and then
he tanked West. He told West to leave the Greens, and West was on 0 ballots.
yeah.
So now
Hey, Indy,
you totally tanked his campaign too.
we just spent the last half hour talking about politics as Angel in the afternoon. So hey, Indy, how you doing? But yeah, I mean, so Peter Dow's a piece of shit. I mean, he's on Jill Stein's. He supposedly quit Cornell West because his mother was sick or something. That was his
I
excuse.
think hey, I've already done
And
I've already done my damage. I literally made Cornell West leave the Green Party, who was on more ballots than independents are, and made him independent, and now he's on 0 ballots and he ain't gonna get on any.
no, he's not on any ballots. Now he's on Jill Stein's campaign, even though his mother was sick recently. So,
And he's
and
gonna
maybe she
tank
got
her
better.
too.
Maybe she got better allegedly. I don't know what his excuse is
Like,
why
look,
now he's working again.
right. Well, I love Jill Stein's message, but I
Oh,
don't
it's a great
believe it
message,
because
but
again, it's a great message. It's, let's fight back against the rich. Let's get, health care for all. Let's do all this stuff that I want. But again, I don't believe Jill Stein because she has Peter Dow on her side. And I don't believe Peter Dow. I think once you're a
mm,
snitch, you're a snake, you're always a snake. Ask
yeah.
Jake the Snake, he would know.
Unfortunately, she probably gonna tank her campaign. I don't know how many states the Green Party is on, because right now they're not on the ballot here in New Jersey. So even if I wanted to vote for her, I can't. So
And that's the thing. Like, she's not doing anything to get her name back on those ballots that she
yeah,
should
she's
be
not
on.
right now. I think she's only on 20 states or 30 states,
Yeah.
and her campaign's not doing anything to get back on
And again,
in
guys,
those
if she was
states.
a threat to the establishment, this is why I say about RFK Jr. If he was a threat to the establishment, he would end up like his uncle and his father. He does not want to do that. He does not want
Yeah,
to end up like his father or uncle. Again,
yeah,
with Jill Stein, same thing. She is not a threat to the establishment. She
and
has a great message. There's no doubt about that. That is the
yeah,
message I would pick. Unfortunately, she's not a threat to the establishment. Otherwise, they would literally not let her have the message. They wouldn't let her be the Green Party. They would have nothing. They would do exactly what they did in 2016 to her, or I think it was it was 2016.
She
They
ran in
literally
2016.
they handcuffed her to a chair for 8 hours. She
I was
wasn't
gonna bring
allowed to
that
be
up.
in the debates.
I was gonna bring that up. Her and Amy Goodman, because Amy Goodman was with her. They both got handcuffed to a chair for like 8 hours. I mean, they just left them there, like in
They just
some
left them there.
basement. Yeah.
So that was the establishment's way of saying she's no threat to us.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't. And then RFK. Oh, sorry. I'll say this one last thing. RFK Jr. is not a threat because, again, he was tied to Jeffrey Epstein. We know about the Zionist stuff that he has. He has Shmuley, who again does his daughter with her own little sex toys. That's gross and disgusting.
Ridiculous. That guy's ridiculous. Getting into business with his daughter.
Not that much.
Okay, you want to get in business with your child, fine, but a sex
don't make it obvious. Don't make it obvious.
I mean, come on. But yeah, I digress. But yeah, one more thing. Ever since that event, Amy Goodman has been horrible. The Russiagate thing, she Russiagated everybody.
Because she got told by the establishment, you will not double cross us.
I think that legitimately scared her. I mean, whatever happened to her in that basement when she was handcuffed, it changed her. I mean, obviously, she's been a good little girl.
Join the establishment as the fraud squad has, or you leave.
That's why I don't watch.
Hear from you, or you get JFK'd.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch her. What's her channel or show? I forget right now. I haven't watched it in years. Amy Goodwin.
Something news. Yeah, I used to watch it too, but now I
stopped
don't.
watching it. She was Russiagating.
Yeah, that was before when she had Aaron Mate on. I was watching.
Yeah, he worked for her.
He was good. He was really good. And he's still really good. He's an award-winning journalist. Yeah, he kicks ass.
Democracy Now!
That's right.
Yeah, I think you founded it. It was good back before 2016.
Back with Aaron Mate and stuff. Well, and the thing that ruined it for me was RFK. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna debate Max Blumenthal." Just like Jill Stein's going to go on Jimmy Dore, right?
That's another story where her campaign manager, by the way, follows me on Twitter, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, he was like, "Oh, we're not going on Jimmy Dore, blah, blah, blah." And then everybody attacked him for, "Okay, fine, we'll go on."
We'll go on Jimmy Dore, and then we're still waiting.
Yeah, look at her schedule, and then we'll do it. But she's a Green Party candidate. What schedule? It's like
what schedule?
He's like Trump or Biden, he has a schedule to go on shows and stuff. So, yeah. Anyways, we do really have to wrap up, but yeah, on Thursday I did a live debate reaction on Politically Homeless.
Yeah, I have to watch that. I did. I wanted to watch it, and then I got so tired, and I was just like, I'm going to sleep.
Those clips are available on the INN YouTube channel. Because we weren't allowed to stream it to YouTube.
Because you had to do the Rumble. Yeah, because they said it was a copyright thing. Yeah, I hate CNN. Fuck CNN.
CNN had exclusive rights to the debate, and if you streamed it on YouTube, YouTube would take it down.
And instead of talking about poor people and our issues, what did they talk about? Fucking golf.
They spent 3 or 4 minutes talking about their golf games and how Trump was better at golf than Biden. And Biden went along with it. It's like, "Oh no, my handicap is a 6." And Trump's like,
nobody gives a fuck, dude. How about you worry about us poor people? Because we're the kind of ones that don't have food.
Okay, Trump wants to talk about his golf game. Fine, you're the president of the United States, and you're going to walk right into that. "Oh no, my
That's why when
is 6.
You were doing the CNN lies, and I was like, no. And he said Iran funded Hamas. I went, no, Israel did. What the hell, Trump? Horrible. But everyone thinks that, Trump's going to save us. Guys, Trump is establishment as establishment comes. He is going to do everything the establishment, easy for me to say, establishment tells him to do, or otherwise he will not be president. I'm telling you now, the first 4 years of his presidency, he helped rich people. He wanted to be responsible and take credit for the vaccines that poisoned poor people and left a lot of the healthy poor people to collapse on news organizations. Sports teams were falling down dead. The one football player fell down and had a heart issue. Again, they knew it was poison. The rich did not take it. And yet Trump what did he do? He wants credit for that poison that they
Yeah.
tried to get into our arms. And kudos
wouldn't
to
take
the
credit for that.
unvaccinated. If you didn't get vaccinated, you are on top of the game. I was scared into the first 2 jabs and I said no more. Because I found out they were lying about everything because I watched Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore was triple. He was he was triple vaxxed.
Yeah,
And he
because
has long COVID now.
he has an illness, so his doctor said he had to take it.
I'm sick every 3 months with a sinus infection. They will not give me amoxicillin. They give me some kind of viral shit that doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I never took another shot again, but yeah, I mean, oh, by the way, we do have to say COVID, the vaccines are safe and effective, and they work really well, and you should get your booster. Yeah, because we're on YouTube, so we do have to say that, but yeah, I mean, so I think we should wrap up now. It's about 10 o'clock, and my battery's
Have
dying.
I done pissed off everybody?
So yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share your stuff, share this
Check
stuff.
out the links in the description.
Check out the links in the description box for the channels, and check out our reaction to the debate on politically homeless. Those clips are on the INN YouTube channel, so check those out. You want to watch the whole stream? It's on Rumble. We spend half an hour before the debate talking, and then after the debate, we spend 10 or 15 minutes. So it's like nearly 3-hour stream we did on Thursday night.
I'm gonna check it out. I just got really tired last night.
Yeah, okay. Not as long as you do check it out, because we do get pretty rowdy, because like I said, I had my drink. Yeah. Towards the end of the debate, I got kind of I started giggling like a schoolgirl. Every time Biden did one of his faces, I would just start giggling like an idiot. And we reacted.
Oh, come on, guys, you got to see that.
Yeah. And then we reacted to the whole. I'm not sure. I think we've seen this. It's like we beat Medicare. That moment from Biden.
Oh
yeah. Debate. Oh,
yeah, you beat Medicare, so that fuck those pesky poor people. They deserve to die anyway.
I don't know why. I don't know what he's trying to say. It's like finally we beat Medicare, and he like, oh, thank you, President Biden. Trump would they cut him off like. Thank
you, what? President Biden. Yeah, we hate poor people too. Okay, Trump, go ahead.
Yes, tell him we'll be live at 11, I think, which is why 11:30, which why we do have to go. But yeah, I mean, it's so check out the INN YouTube channel, Politically Homeless. We do the reaction to the debate, and make sure you like that stuff too, and share that too, because that's hilarious and stuff what we did. But yeah, thank you for joining us for this stuff. Make sure you like this stuff. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to Steph's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Make sure you like her stuff.
And we have another guest coming on Black Magic Talk. Don't ask me their name. I forgot. I didn't get episode 42 done this week because and like I said, we're only on episode 40, I believe, which is it's Ric Flair and Kurt, I think, at Halloween Havoc. So, because 41 is their WWE3 match. Episode 42 is going to be, I want to do the Chris Benoit and Kurt match on Nitro.
Yeah.
So I was going to do that tonight, but I think because I do have some time tomorrow, and then Monday I don't go into work till late, and Tuesday and Wednesday. So I think I'm probably going to do it Monday. Like I said, I want to stay ahead because if I fall behind, then my show will suffer for it. But but check that out. Halloween Havoc is coming up tomorrow. I will be uploading that.
Yes, Biden did say they're 1,000 trillionaires instead of billionaires, so that's definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, they'll be trillionaires. Just you wait.
In a few years, yeah. I just wanted to acknowledge Tim Buck. Vince McMahon screwed over Bret Hart. And was like, yep.
I mean, we could do a whole episode on that. I mean, we did with Kit Cabello.
Yeah, but
we need like a part 2 and a part 3 because I can't say enough about what happened with the whole Montreal screw job.
Yeah, Bret just was screwed out of the, and that destroyed him. He's never been the same, really.
And the whole thing with Goldberg, we could talk about that too, where Goldberg kicked him in the head.
Oh,
I mean, who really killed WCW?
We need to do the last episode of that. We never talked about the last episode. I'm not sure you saw it. I did. So, the last episode of Who Killed WCW. I
didn't listen to the Cornette. They'll probably talk about it on the Experience. I didn't listen to that yet because it
Yeah.
literally just came out just before we came on. I was like, God,
Uh-huh.
why do you do this to me?
So we'll talk about it next week, I guess. Hopefully, I gotta talk to D again. We haven't heard from him in a while. Last time I heard from him, he's remodeling his house, so at the beginning of June. So to see whether he come back on the show.
I
It's
would
been a
love to
while.
hear from D again, especially
Yeah.
about the Shawn Michaels part.
Uh-huh. So yeah, we definitely, that'll do it. Hope Goldberg's one of the rough ones. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
I saw
he sucked.
lightning.
Oh, no, okay.
I saw lightning. I didn't hear the thunder yet. Hopefully, my mic doesn't pick it up.
Okay. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you for very much for, second time I'm signing off. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch Angel in the Afternoon on this channel, INN channel, Friday, or my personal channel, wherever you're on, Friday at 7. So
So, bye.